What's good, YouTube? What is going on? Welcome to another night, Friday Sports Talk. Today we have a couple of special guests on joining us today. Excuse me to the people that are in the chat right now. We're gonna go straight into it. Appreciate everybody that's coming through, that came through to show love. But we have one of the top prospects out here in New York in the Bronx, my man Ofacio Falcon Jr.
How
And
you doing?
have a living legend in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. We got Ice Man John Scully. And of course, you guys know D Free. And my best friend Sock is not here right now. He's running late. He's probably got baby issues right now. So he'll be on to join us shortly. And hopefully, Georgie Tehran will be on shortly as well. So basically, what we're going to do to start off, I'm going to let Ofacio start and give us a brief introduction, and then we'll take it to Iceman, and then we'll just get into it.
So what's up, guys? My name's Ofacio Falcon Jr. They call me the Sniper. I've gotten that name in Florida when I was in training camp with like Ritufo and those guys. I'm currently 10-0 with 6 knockouts. Fought on numerous platforms such as like the Zone, Telemundo, and etc. And I'm from the Bronx, and we're here.
Thank you. So is it Falcon or Falcon? I've been saying Falcon, so I don't want.
I don't think they wrong. I don't think it's wrong. I just think it depends where you're from. So, like Spanish people, Puerto Ricans say differently. English people say differently. They'll say Falcon because that's literally what it spells. So it just depends.
Okay.
I really doesn't matter to me, bro.
All right.
There you go, bro. This is the name.
And Iceman, what's going on, bro?
Yes, sir. No, everything's good, man. I'm up at training camp in Montreal right now, and I was afraid I was going to be late, but we were out eating, and but I made it in time, so I'm happy to be here with you guys.
Oh, appreciate it. And then is it training camp with Beterbiev?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when is his next fight?
Middle of January.
Middle of January. Okay.
Fighting in Quebec City, which is about 2 hours north of here.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And so I mean, this is obviously not the fight that you guys probably want. Right? The fight that you guys probably want is he's fighting December 23rd. Do you think if you guys get a win this in a couple weeks, do you guys think you could set something up with Biffle finally?
I mean, the problem apparently is the WBC won't sanction it because they're Russian, right?
Okay.
And they invaded Ukraine. Now, what I say to that is, I've never heard of them lately sanctioning any Chinese fighters, right? Yet China, which I didn't know this till Artur actually told me, they have been torturing Muslims for years in China and jailing them, incarcerating them, abusing them. I didn't know that Artur was supposed to fight Fen Manlong in China about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. So we were all hyped up. We're getting ready to go to China, and Artur pulled out. He said, "I'm not going." He said they abuse, they torture Muslims, they imprison them for no reason. And I did a little research, and nobody talks about that. I don't know if the WBC has sanctioned any Chinese fighters, but I haven't heard about it.
Wow, that's great. I never knew that as well.
I had no idea. Yeah,
that's crazy. Hold on one second. Here goes the guy that's always on time on his time, Socrates Palmer.
How's it going? Some of my favorite people on the screen. And what's up, Tom?
Oh, damn.
Ice, what up?
You even got my wife laughing.
Man, I heard you. This isn't your first time being late.
But consistency is the key, though, John.
So you're consistently late. I appreciate it.
How's it going?
Everything's good with me.
That's what's up, bro. Ofacio.
Yo, my man.
D Free.
What's going on, man?
Salute. Where we at?
Basically, we just did some intros. We was talking to Iceman. We was talking about Beterbiev's next fight. Beterbiev's next fight, and Iceman was just basically giving us a little kind of like not a history lesson, but like something I didn't know about. that's happening in China.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, John is one of the most knowledgeable people in the sport, and the next person that you hear say something bad about him is going to be the first person that say something bad about him. He's one of the most liked and respected people, and I'm not saying that because he's on the air with us. As a matter of fact, I remember I was working a corner in Foxwoods about 10 years ago, and somebody from the commission had said, I tried to name drop. I said, you know Iceman Scully? So yeah, he's a good guy. As a matter of fact, I think that's his problem. I think he's too good of a guy for boxing. So
maybe.
So I think at the time you might have been working with Oliver, was he featherweight or junior?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he was junior featherweight. Yeah,
Mike
at that time.
Mike Oliver, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Let me ask you a question. I mean, I don't know if D Free has any questions, but Iceman. So you work with Chad Dawson, right?
Right.
Do you think we ever saw? I mean, we saw Chad Dawson really good. He was a world champion. But you think we ever saw the best of Chad Dawson?
He had some really, really good fights. Like especially like the first fight with Tarver. He really looked good. The second fight with Glenn Johnson, the second fight with Bernard. I think Chad was super talented. Obviously he was super talented. He had skills. I think he fought at a high level, and I think we saw him fight extremely well. I think towards the end of his career, and beginning with the Andre Ward fight, he was compromised by the weight loss. I mean, it is what it is. Like, it's not an excuse. I was there. It was horrific what he went through to make the weight for that fight. And just like with Roy Jones after the Tarver fight, he was never the same. He was literally never the same after that day. The weight loss, you can't fight at an advanced age and go down in weight. It's been proven. De La Hoya did it. Muhammad Ali did it when he fought Larry Holmes. It's just happened so many times, and guys have literally ruined themselves. They've never been the same. But Chad, I think, was one of the best, obviously, in his era, and he fought at an extremely high level. I think, unfortunately, I think he would have given Andre Ward a much, much better fight if they fought at light heavyweight. I assume that's why they didn't fight at light heavyweight. Nobody brings people down in weight, but I guess the money was a huge factor, and the boxing business reared its head. So, but yeah, Chad has nothing to be ashamed of with his career. I mean, he in his prime, and that's all I go by. It's like with Roy Jones. People say, "Oh, he got knocked out by this guy." That guy said, "Listen, I don't care about that. I'm talking about him when he was Roy Jones."
Yeah.
You can't say anything to me about Roy Jones because that man was a beast in his best day. There's nobody beating him at his best day. And so I go by that. And a guy like Chad, on his best day, he was a problem. He was a very good fighter.
Yeah. You sparred with Roy, right? You were in the camp with him.
Yeah.
What year was that?
I sparred with him in the late 80s as an amateur, and then in the pros for several years, when he was in his prime, or in the 90s, early 90s.
Okay. So in that camp against Andre Ward, was there any problems in that camp because I mean that Chad Dawson was not the Chad Dawson I was used to seeing when he fought Andre Ward.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I remember everything. I write everything down.
Okay.
I'm writing a book. I call it the Iceman Diaries. And the reason I call it that is because I write everything down. You asked me what I did on July 5th, 1991. I will tell you. I will go look at my book and I will tell you who I was with, what I ate, where I was, everything. With Chad, I mean, you want to hear the story? You want me to tell you what happened?
Of course.
Okay. He fights Bernard Hopkins. Great performance. He beat Bernard super decisively. Everything was great. In the ring, immediately after the fight, Chad is interviewed. And you know how around that time is when they started doing the thing where when you get interviewed in the ring, everybody can hear it in the arena. It's like they echo it through. So I'm standing behind him. I don't know. I never watched the fight on tape, but you could probably see this happen in real time. So I hear the broadcaster, it might have been Max Kellerman or whoever it was, and they say to him, all right, now that you beat Bernard, what's next? And he says, and I remember exactly how he said it, Andre Ward. And you see me, I turn and I look at the guy next to me. I go, what'd he say? He said, Andre Ward. And they said at 168. And I'm like, 168? So in the dressing room after, I'm talking to the nutritionist, the strength coach. I said, look, it's us here. It's not TV. It's just me and you. Can he really make 168? He's like, oh, yeah, no problem, blah, blah, blah. He comes in the camp light anyway. He'll make it. So I'm thinking, wow, this is the way he described the whole process. I said, this is going to be unbelievable. Andre Ward's going to be in for the fight of his life. So we got to camp on July 7, 2012. July 7, 2012 in Las Vegas. It was 111 degrees that day. Mm-hmm. We trained for the first 5 weeks. He gets on the scale. How much do you think he weighed? He weighed 100. On the first day, he weighed 182. It was July 7. How much did he weigh 5 weeks later in 111 degree heat? Running every day, sparring, doing everything. How much do you think he weighed?
Ofacio, you're the fighter. You take a guess.
So what did he say he started at?
He started at 182.
And what did he need to be at?
168.
Probably like 173.
184.
What? Jesus Christ.
He gained 2 pounds.
He gained.
So
wow.
I'm like, so I talked to the strength coach in private. I go, hey, what are you doing there? And he's like, I got it. Listen, he got mad at me and he said, listen, you handle the boxing. I don't talk to you about the boxing. You handle the boxing. I'll handle the nutrition and the food and the weight. I said, listen, that's all good, but we're professionals. And here's the problem. Nobody knows who you are. It's all going to reflect on me and Chad and me as the trainer. If he looks great, I'm going to be the $1 million trainer. If he looks horrible, I'm going to get blamed for it. No matter what happens, you're going to go back home and nobody's going to know who you are. They're not going to know your role. So we fast forward, the training camp was 9 weeks. The night before the fight, the weigh-in, the night before the weigh-in, it was about 6 o'clock. He has to weigh in tomorrow at 3 o'clock. He gets on the scale after 9 weeks. He weighed 175 pounds. So we still got to lose 7 pounds. So I say to the guy, what is this? What are you, crazy? And he goes, no, don't worry about it. And he acted like it was nothing. We went on the treadmill for 50 minutes, 50. He sat in the steam room for 25 minutes, and I sat with him. I wanted to be with him. I sat with him. He gets off, gets out, gets on the scale. He weighs 168 on the button. I say to the strength coach, all right, what's he going to eat now? He says, nah, he can't eat till tomorrow after the weigh-in. And Chad goes, oh, come on, man, what are you, crazy? I haven't eaten in 3 days. So we gave him some grapefruit and everything. And I told his manager, I forget the guy's name, but his manager, his lawyer, I told the guy that night, I said, we're going to get killed tomorrow. Wow. And it's your fault. It's your guy's fault because I wasn't with this. You guys hired this guy. He's the guy. And I said, this is stupid. I told them after the first 5 weeks, I said, let's cancel the fight. This is crazy. Nobody goes down in weight. This is not going to be easy. And, he tried and he got beat and he was never the same. Remember, he was never the same. He was never the same fighter again. He never looked good again. He got stopped against Adonis and then he got beat by Carpet C. And I think he got stopped by another guy. He was never the same. The weight loss killed him the same way it killed De La Hoya when he fought when he fought Pacquiao, the same way it got Roy, the same way it did Muhammad Ali when he fought Larry Holmes. It's not, boxing coaches have to be left alone. I'm not a big fan of in general of strength coaches. I know a couple good ones, but in general terms, I'm not a fan of a strength coach that does not have a boxing background, a true boxing background, to understand what these things do to the fighter. And that was the case, I believe.
But you're a fan of Socrates, right? He's a good strength and conditioning coach.
Oh no, I know. There's good strength coaches.
No, I know that.
No, don't get me wrong. There's good strength coach. Mackie Showstone.
That's
was
right.
A genius. Mackie Showstone
Yes.
was a genius with those
Pioneer.
guys. What he did with those guys, is incredible. What he did. But losing weight is different than putting it on. That kind. You're getting compromised, and so I'm not a fan. Without strength coaches aside, I'm not a fan of the making the weight, losing the weight too much, and you gotta fight where you're comfortable, and it's just you can't do it for money. You're gonna sacrifice a lot.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, you as a fighter, was there ever a fight that you yourself it was just hell to make weight? Because you fought the bulk of your career at 68, right?
I think I was at my best at 68, but I fought 60, which never should have been 60. My manager put me there. It was stupid. I will tell you, I had probably, just off the top of my head, like 7 fights where it was so horrible to make weight. And I'll tell you, and I've told the story, and I'm not gonna tell the whole story, but I'll tell you basically, I lost so much weight for a fight one time. During the fight on TV, on ESPN, from the second round to the end of the 10th round, I thought I was in the dressing room thinking about the fight. I was hallucinating for 8.5 rounds. I got hit with a shot in the second round, and I had, been making a weight, and I fought the fight thinking that I was in the dressing room dreaming about the fight.
Shit.
Yeah.
Boy, that's crazy.
And believe me, when during the fight, I was saying to myself, am I dreaming or is this real? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to argue with myself to figure it out. And I remember thinking, I wonder if this is similar to what Gerald McClellan felt when he fought Nigel Benn, and he ended up, badly, permanently damaged.
Yeah.
People have no idea what weight loss, they act like it's no big deal. Like, oh, the guy lost a pound at the weigh-in. What's the big deal? It's like, man, he's already been losing weight for the last 2 months. That's what the big deal is. This guy hasn't eaten a solid meal since February. And you make weight, and people think, oh, you made weight, you're going to rehydrate. It's not that simple. You can't just kill yourself for 8 weeks and then think a bunch of water is going to solve the problem. That doesn't work like that. And I think that's a major problem in the world of professional boxing is, just like you saw when Joey Gamache fought Arturo Gatti, and they had the weight loss issue there. And, if you remember, I don't know if you guys are old enough, but, even Muhammad Ali, when he fought Larry Holmes, before that fight, he had been over 300 pounds.
Wow.
And at 38 years old, he went back down to his fighting weight of 217. And everybody thought he looked so great physically, but at his age, it was a big mistake. He should have came in at 227, 228, but he got all the way down because Muhammad Ali thought looking like I did when I was younger is going to mean something. Doesn't mean a thing. The visual is not as important as the internal.
Now, he was taking thyroid medications,
right?
I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he was doing all kinds of stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
they did not do a good job. But Ali was his own man. He kind of, in a certain way of speaking, he trained himself. You know what I mean? And they couldn't argue with Ali. But he thought looking good was going to mean he felt good. It was going to mean that and every fighter really, I've looked in the mirror at myself before fights and thought, I'm a beast. Look at me. I got a 6-pack. But you realize, it doesn't mean anything. You have to be prepared. And that doesn't, you don't look at James Toney. James Toney never had a 6-pack in his life. And he fight 12 rounds all out, and he'd be stronger in the 12th round than anybody else on earth. when he was on his game.
Mhm.
So the the 6-pack, I don't put a big stamp on that. I don't have it as a prerequisite like I did when I was younger.
Okay. Ofacio, you was about to say something? I'm sorry. I know Ofacio was
Do you
about to say
think I was gonna say? Do you think that would happen to like Devin Haney? Because he just fought at 35 against Loma, and look how he looked.
I mean, guys. I mean, how old is Devin now? I'm not even sure.
25.
25, yeah.
25.
Right. So I mean, he's still a young guy, but like I say, weight does funny things to a body. It really does, and psychologically, like there were times when I made weights for fights, and I literally hated boxing, and I went into certain fights where the last place on earth that I wanted to be was a boxing ring. And I love boxing. I love fighting. But there were times when I actually fought while I hated the game. I hated everything that came with it because, as a fighter, if I say, like you want to look good. You don't want to just win. I mean, you want to look good. Everybody wants to look good. You don't just want to fight. You want to look good. You want to look smooth. You want to throw nice punches. You want to do all that. And it's frustrating when the weight loss compromises you. And it sounds like an excuse. You tell all your friends, I was losing weight. They don't know any better. They you're making excuses. Man, it's reality. It's reality. And we need more knowledge in the game of how to make weight. I'll be honest. I turned pro in 1988. I did not learn how to make weight properly, literally, until the summer of 1994. Took me 6 years. I went to a guy, and he showed me how to do it, and I did it, and I made weight so easily after that. It was incredible, and I had no idea because all my trainers, all they knew was starve yourself. Go in the shot, go in the steam room, go in the sauna, run with a rubber suit on. I had a manager who had me running 7 days a week in a rubber suit in the summer. That was the manner of losing weight. People in our age, you'd be amazed how many trainers in our game don't know a thing about how to make weight. They know nothing. You would think if you go to the University of Southern California and ask the football coach how to get strong, he's going to tell you. He's going to know, right? He's educated. You go to the Major League Soccer, you go to baseball, you go to boxing coaches, and they'll tell you lift weights and don't eat. Don't drink any water for 4 days. Guys are still telling their fighters that kind of stuff. It's crazy.
No.
So my question is, how do you properly lose the weight then?
Okay, I'll tell you what I did. And I can tell you how well it worked. I fought a fight June of 1994. The weight was supposed to be 175. I couldn't make it. It just wasn't coming off. I told my trainer, call the promoter and tell him we got to make the fight for 180 or I can't do it. He makes the fight for 180. I come in, I weighed 184. In a fight I was going to be 175. I couldn't even get past 184. I fought the fight. I won the fight, but I didn't look good. I looked sloppy. I had to really struggle to finish strong. So I went to a nutritionist the very next day. And I said to him, listen, I have to make 175. If I make it in this manner against the level of guys I'm going to have to fight, I'm going to get killed. And it wouldn't even make sense for me to do it. It would be stupid for me to do it. So he told me, what are you eating? And I told him, well, when I train for the fight, I eat one small meal in the morning and I eat one small meal in the afternoon, at night. And he said, listen, you're eating about 600 calories a day. You should be eating 2,500 a day. He said, you're lucky you didn't die, because I had went 12 rounds in a fight a couple of years before that. He goes, you're lucky you didn't die going into a fight eating 600 calories a day. That's almost like trying to kill yourself. So he had me eating 5 meals a day, and small meals. And I remember saying to him, that's crazy. Like, what are you talking about? I eat 2 meals a day and I can't even break 184, and you want me to eat 5 meals a day. He says, trust me, eat 5 small meals a day, space them out every 3 or 4 hours, no more than 4 hours apart. I said, okay. That was in the middle of June 1994, I had just come off a fight where I barely made 184 to make the weight. 2 months later, I made 174 and a half. I was so cut up. My friend ran across the room at the weigh-in, screaming like, "Man, what happened to you? It's crazy. I never seen you with abs before." I said, "Oh, I've been eating 4 meals a day." The day after the fight, I won. I looked good. Everything was great. The day after the fight, I did not. Usually after a fight, I go eat for a couple of days. I pig out on a bunch of junk food, right? Most fighters do. I didn't. That night, I maintained my 4 meals a day. Literally training for the next fight, which was like October 17th, 1994. I got down so low. I weighed 166 pounds. I had to gain weight to fight the guy. I weighed like on the official scale, I was like 173 and a half. It was a 10-round fight. One of the best fights in my career. I felt like $1 million. So the 5 small meals a day over a length of time was unbelievably successful.
Now, you never really let yourself go in between fights because, I mean, you're a clean liver, right? You don't drink.
But
you don't.
I don't drink. I don't do drugs, nothing like that. But I, especially back then, I used to eat a lot of ice cream. I loved ice cream and I love pizza. But during that, before 4 months, during that 4-month span, I wasn't eating any, ice cream. I wasn't eating the junk. I was eating clean food, grilled chicken and rice and, all that type of stuff. I was eating very cleanly. But I honestly, I felt like $1 million. That's the best I've in my entire life. That span of months is the best I've ever felt in my life. And I'll tell you a funny thing. In the morning, and as a fighter, you set the clock for 7 and you wake up, and some days you're just like, man, I'm so tired, and you hit the snooze button, you get up at 7:20. You finally get out running at almost 8 o'clock, right? That was me 100%. Some days, I'll be honest, I would roll over and I was too tired. I would stay in bed. When I was doing that 4 or 5 meals a day, I would set the alarm for 7 and I would wake up at 6:30, 6:40. I would on my own, and I would jump out of bed full of energy. I would start running before 7 o'clock even came, and I felt the best I ever felt in my life. To this day in my life, that's the best I ever felt.
Wow. Real quick, there was a question. Somebody asked a question, I guess, for Ofacio and you, Iceman, as fighters. He says, why don't boxers just stay in shape year-round versus waiting for a fight and rushing to get to a certain weight?
Because we're human.
Huh?
Because we're human.
Because we're human.
That's the best answer I can give you. I mean, staying in shape, I do believe in I never go like above like 15, 20 pounds in a fight. I don't go that far up, but we do have to live too, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So
right. It's kind of like, you ever see a guy and he'll say, I train 4 hours a day. No, you don't. Nobody trains 4 hours a day. That's just silly. You might be in the gym 4 hours, but you're talking half the time. People don't, and you wouldn't need to work out 4 hours a day, right? But my point is, people think like it's easy, like just train all the time, just train all year round. I mean, you get tired of training, you get tired of running, you get tired of working out. You need a break from it. You're human. You go weeks and weeks and weeks without having your favorite dessert. Well, after the fight, you wanna repay yourself back. Now the problem is, here's what I'll tell you what the problem is. A fighter, myself, talking about myself, sometimes I would say, okay, after this fight, I'm gonna take 1 day, a day and a half, and I'm gonna eat everything I want, and then I'm gonna go back to training. Before you know it, a day turns into 2 days, and then 2 days turns into a week. And next thing you know, you've been eating everything you want for like a month, and now you got to start training again. So it's easy to lose yourself, especially after a fight, because winning a fight, even a regular fight, just not a title fight, but a professional fight, winning a fight to the fighter is a big deal. Like you feel like you really accomplished something. And when you're done, you want to treat yourself. You want to relax a little bit. You want to get away from training just to experience life normally again, because once you start training, you're going to have to do it again. I would say one problem, and you as a boxer, you're going to need to understand this. When you're younger, you can get away with that. You can train for a fight, then take time off, and then come back. When you get older, the more time you take off between fights, the worse it is. And the biggest thing is when you gain weight. This is why guys move up in weight. This is why James Toney went from a skinny middleweight to a fat heavyweight. This is why I went from 160 to I fought as high as 190, I think. Because when you gain weight between fights and then you lose it, every time you go back up, you're going to gain just a little bit more. So you're used to gaining 10 pounds between fights. Next thing you know, you're gaining 25 pounds between fights, and you're gaining 28 pounds, and you have to come back down. So every time you come back down, you're damaging your body to a certain degree, a little bit more every time. That's exactly why Bernard Hopkins was so successful, because he was, to the best of my knowledge, one of the top, most disciplined fighters you could ever imagine. The things he did. And I knew his trainer, Nazim, and he used to tell me what Bernard would do and the kind of stuff he would do. And it's next level mentality. And Bernard was able to fight at that weight so low at 160 for all those years because he never got big. He never got heavy between fights. He kept his discipline at a super, super, super high level.
Wow.
I mean, and your metabolism, it's not the same. Even you don't even have to be a fighter. I'm 46. My metabolism is not the same when I was Ofacio's age. So,
right. Everything is different.
Everything's
different.
Get
older. Right. For sure. 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was you. We had a conversation once. Archie Moore, and I think that he used to eat them when he would. He was training camp, chew the meat and just spit it out.
Right. He told me to do it.
Pause.
And, he had me doing it for a little while, but and I remember being in my kitchen, and I'm like 17 years old, and I'm doing the steak and I'm spitting it into a paper bag and just
to trick your brain.
This is kind of crazy, yeah. And I couldn't do it like Archie did it. But he swore by it. He said he got it in Australia. The Aborigines people taught it to him, and that's what he said anyway.
Wow.
Yeah.
One of the comments, he's like, Coach Ice Man Scully knows about discipline. Beterbiev goes hard in training.
Yeah. Oh no, listen, Artur is from another planet. No, trust me, this man is. Listen, you can look. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I put it on YouTube. I took the video and I put it on YouTube. I always tell this story. If you want to know what kind of dedication this man has, right? He fought Joe Smith on a Saturday in June of last year. He beat Joe Smith 2 rounds for the WBO. He unified the titles.
Yeah.
So he fights. So he trains for 9 weeks like a beast. Knocks out Joe on a Saturday. He goes home on Sunday. Monday morning at 7 o'clock, he was in the gym, and he has this thing he does where he has a big truck tire on the wall, and he beats on it with sledgehammers. And you can see the video. He was there 7 o'clock in the morning, meaning he had to get up at 6, and he's beating the wall, beating the tire on the wall. 7 o'clock in the morning, 2 days later.
Oh, 2 days later. I was going to say the next day. I was like, wow.
No, the next day they had to go home. They had to fly home.
Yeah.
So he went home, and then next thing you know, he's back in the gym. And that's just him. It's not like he did it to be, for social media, any of that. He doesn't care about any of that. Like, that's just him as a man. That's what he does. Like, you couldn't tell him not to do that because that wouldn't make sense to him. Like, if you're a fighter, you train. And if it's the day after the fight or 2 days, then that's when it happens.
Let me ask a question before I was going to ask Ofacio something, but real quick, it better be if that fight doesn't happen with him and Bivol, which doesn't look like it may happen, Does he move up in weight, you think, or what do you think he can do?
I'll be completely honest. I've never heard anyone in the gym mention that. I've never heard it as a possibility. And really, even though Artur as an amateur fought at 201, like in the Olympics and stuff, he was a heavyweight. But he I don't see him moving up. I honestly don't. I don't think. I mean, he's disciplined. He doesn't get a lot of light heavyweights get to be 215 pounds, 210. He gets to be like 191, 192, and he comes down from there. So even between fights at his highest weight, he's not big enough for cruiserweight, as the weight limit goes.
Yeah.
So it's possible, but I've never heard it mentioned. No.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question real quick before you go.
Yeah, of course.
Is there any? Does Artur Beterbiev wants that fight with David Benavidez if he moves to 175?
Artur, I'll be honest with you, and I think I've told you this before. People may not believe me. Artur Beterbiev does not know who David Benavidez is.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't watch boxing. He doesn't care. He didn't know who Joe Smith was until we watched the video a few weeks before the fight. He only cares about unifying the title, and that doesn't even mean Bivol. That means whoever has it. If Bivol loses the title to somebody else, then Artur wants to fight that guy. He doesn't watch boxing. He doesn't know box. If Teofimo Lopez walked up to Artur right now and you said, Artur, I'll give you $20 million if you can tell me who this guy is, he wouldn't have a clue who Teofimo Lopez is. He does not watch boxing. He does not care. He just wants the belts. That's all he knows about is the belts.
Wow.
And whoever you tell him he has to beat to get it, that's who he'll fight.
That's a good thing, right? I mean, one guy just asked, is that a good thing? I mean,
well, he's a fear. I've met a few fearless guys in my life, right? Who I could say are honestly. James Toney is one of them. James is like Artur. James wouldn't care who was there. But yeah, it's a good thing because nobody can intimidate Artur. There's no way possible for you to tell him like, oh, this guy hits hard. Like he wouldn't even know why you were telling him that. It wouldn't register with him. He doesn't. He's really has a special mentality, a special mindset to him for sure.
Okay. Ofacio, you okay there?
Yes, sir.
So right now you're campaigning at what? Super featherweight, right? 130?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any fight lined up yet? We know when's your next fight?
I'm hearing February 16th.
Okay, and I was about to ask you that because they just announced Shockey Foster is fighting Abraham Nova in the theater. February 16th, in the theater.
Well, it's up in the air right now, but I was told it was like 85%, 90% chance I'm gonna get on it. So I'm just training for whatever.
Okay, that's what's up. All right, what do you think about that fight? That's a good fight. I mean, it's a good opportunity for Abraham.
I think it's a great fight. I think it's a great opportunity, and I just want to be there so that they see me as well, and they know that I'm in this weight class too.
Okay.
And yeah, I think it's a great fight though. I got I don't know. I got Oshak.
Yeah, I mean, when Abraham stepped up, I thought he was going to give Robisi a better fight, and then Robisi.
But that ties back to what he was saying about weight loss.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what he looked very drained at 126, like he shouldn't even be there.
Mm-hmm.
And look at the outcome. He got hit with a shot, and
when I
seen him get hit with some other hard shots, and take him pretty well, and that guy just I don't know.
And I think that was his second fight coming off the ACL, right? Because he had an ACL injury or something like that.
Yep, that was his second fight off the ACL. Yep.
Okay. All right.
That's another great fighter too. That's gonna be a good fight. Like a boxer versus boxer.
Mm-hmm.
This is random, but just because he just got inducted into the Hall of Fame, I always felt Diego Corrales taking that fight against Floyd at that weight. I mean, HBO even said that he was eating a peanut butter sandwich like before the fight. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that it was the deciding factor, but it was a major factor on how Floyd just basically manhandled Diego. that weight loss. I mean, because he looked so weak. You know, I mean, it was. I mean, Floyd was never looked like that before, right? How many times did he drop Diego in that fight?
Like 5 times, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like 5 times.
5 times.
You know,
And
yeah.
I think I'm sorry to cut you. I think Corrales was going off through like spousal problems, right? Like he had problems with his wife at the time, I think.
Diego was a loose cannon, but the weight, though, he looked so weak.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I just popped into my head, you know, with the whole weight loss thing.
Weight loss sucks.
You know what?
If I could-
Honestly,
If I could,
I the only thing I don't miss about boxing, there's 2 things. I don't miss waiting in the dressing room before the fight, like just waiting. I don't miss that, and I do not miss making weight. They can keep it. They can have it. I don't ever want to do that again. I'll tell you how bad it was. A few years ago, one of my fighters had to lose weight, and he got in the sauna, and I went in there with him, you know, kind of to support him, right? And I was there for about 5 seconds, and it was such a flashback to making weight for fights, and I got out. I said, look, I'm sorry, man, but you're going to have to do this.
Like PTSD. Like
Exactly.
PTSD.
Yo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was so crazy being in there. And I was like, I don't have to do this, man. I don't need this. I don't have to do this. And I got right out.
I make sure I do what I need to do by like eating right, making sure I get all my miles in. I don't wear no sauna suits. I don't go in the sauna. I don't do none of that. I make sure I do everything right so that I don't even drink soda. Like I to this day I don't drink soda.
Soda's the devil. Never drink soda. Nobody should drink soda.
Yeah, I don't look what Coke does to rust. Like
right.
That alone.
How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 23.
See, so you're a young guy, right? This is what I tell every young guy I know, and I wish someone told me this when I was young. Take 5 years out of your life and dedicate it like you've never dedicated to anything in your life, right? 150%. Do everything you need to do. Don't party, don't hang out, don't eat junk food, don't drink soda, and see what happens.
Let me tell you something. I don't.
You
drink,
don't want to be 40 years old and wishing you didn't. You know, you gave it more than you did. You know what I mean?
You can ask Sock. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't party. I don't do none of that. Never.
Good.
Never.
Tunnel vision. You have to have tunnel vision.
Yeah.
You know, in all walks of life. If you're gonna choose a career that's out of the ordinary, like a boxer or a pro athlete, you have to be married to it to a certain extent.
But the reason why I agree with that too is because in boxing you can't half-ass it. So whatever you do behind the curtains is going to show when you're in that ring. So I'm the type of guy that I rather do everything right. So when I do get in there, I'm not getting hurt or anything like that because it's the hurt business at the end of the day. You could get hurt. So I'm going in there making sure I'm 100% so that doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm. And an off night could be the end of your career. You can't You can't have an off night in boxing.
Exactly. In basketball, you can have an off night, just miss a couple shots. Football, you just didn't catch it or didn't throw it too far enough. In boxing, if you have a bad night, you're getting beat up. So that's the difference. And that's your life. So I'm not playing with this. Never. Right. If not, I just won't do it.
Yeah. My man Donnie says something. Donnie's a good friend of ours. He played football, captain of the football team in Stevenson High School in the Bronx. He says if you want to be elite in your sport, you need to be elite in everything outside of the sport.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Very well said, Donnie.
I co-sign that.
Yeah. So, Ofacio, if you could control 2024, what would it be? Would you want more fights? What's your goal for 2024 for yourself? Exactly. Yeah.
To fight at least 3 to 4 times this year.
Okay.
I understand that boxing, if you're not signed to a promoter, it's hard, so I get it. But I'm trying to fight 3 to 4 times this year. Of course, win every single one of them. And I just want to win impressive. I want people not only if they know me already, to know me more.
Yeah.
So just remain undefeated. That's always to always win. That's always my number one goal overall. Just fight maybe this year 3-4 times a year. If I could more, I'll do it as well. And possibly just to get in front of, some bigger names. That's all. Nice. Of course, taking my steps because I know there's levels to boxing and, a lot of things plays this point. I have to earn my way there, so I understand that. So take my time, but take the right steps this year. Is what I'm
Yeah,
trying to.
I feel you. So tomorrow we got some big fights, but the biggest fight tomorrow,
Devin Haney.
and we want to get your guys' point of view, Iceman and Ofacio. Regis is going up in weight to 140 and fighting the WBC champ.
Wait,
Regis Prograis.
he wasn't.
No,
Wait, Regis wasn't.
Devin Haney.
Oh, what did I say?
Oh, I was about to say.
I said
You
Regis is fighting
flipped
Prograis.
it. You flipped it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
you
fault.
flipped it.
Devin at 135 is moving up to 140. His first fight at 140. He's fighting for the championship against Regis Prograis. I don't know if you guys been watching the build-up, the press conference, the weigh-in. Tell me, what do you guys think? I mean, if you haven't seen it, I mean, the weigh-in was pretty intense.
I think. Oh, you can go first. Yeah, bro.
I mean, me personally, I'm not a fan of, this modern era of trying to sell the fights and, the father's involved and everybody's swearing and, it's like they're appealing to themselves. They're appealing to their inner circle, right? It looks good to them, but you're not going to sell yourself to everyday people performing that like that. Carrying yourself like that. Like the average person on earth does not want to see that. They don't want to hear that. You didn't hear that. Even as big a mouth as Muhammad Ali had, he didn't talk like that. You didn't feel threatened by this dude. And, I think marketing wise, we're going in the wrong direction with our sport. And, you're not going to get the masses behind you. You're not going to make the big money acting like that because people aren't going to pay. They may be curious about it. They'll read about it, but they're not going to pay money to see people that they don't like, that aren't likable people. It just doesn't work like that. And, like a lot of people say, they if like somebody acting like that makes you want to see them get beat. You may want to see them get beat, but I'm not going to pay to see them get beat. I'll just be glad when it happens. I'll read about it the next day on fightnews.com. But I think, somewhere we lost. Imagine Alexis Arguello today. Imagine him in this era. They wouldn't even know what to do with him. Such a classy champion, the epitome of a world champion. We don't have too many epitome of world champions today. We don't have that.
It's almost the Mayweather blueprint. I'm so you build up the bad guy, and I'm gonna pay my money to see this guy. Somebody's gonna finally kick this guy's ass.
Right.
So I'm sorry.
I feel like if you're don't you have to apologize. I feel like if you're that guy in boxing now, who's the guy who's talking shit, the guy who's being quiet, not saying anything. I feel like you're just drawn into that anyways now. There's nothing you can really do because if you don't talk, then people are gonna say you're boring or nobody's going to pay attention to you. And then if you do talk, people want to see you lose and end up not watching you for the reasons you say they don't like you or not. So I feel like regardless, you're going to be drawn into things like this eventually. Nowadays.
So you guys don't think two things. So you don't think it's more of a psyche to kind of like to psych yourself up, one, or maybe two, to get in the opponent's head. And so because I honestly think in this build up, I think Haney and his father have gotten into Regis's head. This is my opinion. I mean, Regis is kind of like out of character here. I think they did this to kind of get him out of character. That's what I believe. But maybe you guys may think so. I know D Free has his opinion on this as well.
I feel like it's a man's sport, and I don't think words should get to you. Like, bro, we're fighting each other. We're about to fight tomorrow. Why are we? Ain't no reason why we're talking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. Like, if we're gonna fight tomorrow, see who's the best. Why are we saying anything right now?
And I feel like if you get intimidated by words, then you shouldn't be a professional boxer.
Thank you. That's what I'm coming to.
Like, could you imagine Marvin Hagler? Imagine getting in Marvin Hagler's face and telling him, what you're gonna do to him. Like, do you really think this man is phased in the least by you? Artur. Like, if you did something like that with Artur, it would just be so crazy to him. Like, he would think you were ignorant, and he wouldn't even give you the time of day. Like, he wouldn't say anything back. You wouldn't be able to punk him, but he wouldn't say anything back. Because he would look at you as lower form. But like I say, we're trying. We're the only sport that really does this on this level. and for me on a personal level, like it's insane to me, like when you have the father and the friend and your best friend is there in your entourage and he's talking crazy to the guy. Like you see a fight on TV, right? And they'll be in the ring and the entourages are in there and the fighters' friends are all in the ring yelling at the opponent across the ring, talking crazy to him, knowing that in 30 seconds they're going to be getting out of the ring and going and sitting down, not having to face anything, and they're going to get their friend killed because they're getting Mike Tyson heated over across the ring. I don't. It's hard for me to take people seriously when they know they don't have to fight anybody.
Well, I would hope. I would see.
That's another thing too. You don't have to fight anybody.
Yeah. Well, I would hope to not see Socrates do what the trainer, the strength and conditioning coach of Regis has done, because he's been trying to talk shit to the other guy, to Haney as well. As a strength and conditioning coach. So,
well, I think it's part of Regis is a low key guy. He's a Southern guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By nature, he's just a humble, country dude,
Not this week.
Not this week. Not this week. But and I think that goes into the point of Tom, saying that he's gotten Regis out of character. I think
he did, because Regis has never done that before. Like, so that's
no.
I don't think he can imitate it. Go ahead. I'm sorry, D3. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say I look at it at they actually got Regis hyped up for this fight, because most of the time Regis is going into a fight where people are too scared to fight him. Most of the people that they usually never call out Regis' name, and so now Regis actually has somebody that wants to fight him, and I think that kind of woke Regis up, because they looking at Regis as pretty much a walkover. They talking about they're going to knock Regis out, and we know Devin Haney's not a real big puncher. But they talking about how Regis looked bad in his last fight or whatever. So Regis looking at it as, oh, they think I'm just a walkover. Oh, I really got to go out here and fight now. So I think they actually might have backfired a little bit, because if you'd have just kept it peaceful, you probably would have been able to go out there and outbox Regis. But now you might have woke up a sleeping giant, and now he might come in there and try to take your head off. So I want to see how it plays out. But I don't know. I think Devin might have bit off a little bit too much to chew.
I think about this fight, I don't know. It's up in the air. I like Devin because of his style. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fan of Devin. But I feel like this fight, for example, I seen an interview that Devin was talking, I don't know to who it was, but he said that this is the most relaxed he's ever been in a fight. He's not nervous or anxious or anything. And me as a fighter, and I think I'm speaking for a lot of other fighters out there, I don't care what are you getting into. If you're going into a fight, you have some type of like anxious feelings or nervousness. It's not for the wrong reasons, because you're prepared. If he's not feeling like that, and he felt like that for every other fight, I feel like he's underestimating Prograis, and something can go wrong. I don't know. I got Devin winning, but I feel like Regis is gonna hurt him.
Yeah.
Like he might drop him. Devin gets up and wins or something like that.
Yeah. I got Devin. I'm leaning towards Devin winning this fight because he's the better boxer, but Devin never been in a ring with a puncher like Regis Prograis. And Regis and Devin tends to slow down in the later rounds and gets hit a lot more in the later round. That's why I'm intrigued to see this fight, because I want to see how Devin reacts when he gets hit by Regis, because at some point he's going to get hit by Regis.
But you know what it is? I also think that's where it comes to those mind games that he was playing. I feel like he was talking to Regis because he wants Regis to come forward and not play possum and lure Devin in. Because Devin gets hit on his front foot. He don't get hit on his back foot a lot, because he's better moving away than when he's pressing somebody. So I feel like if that's why they're talking shit. That's why Devin pushed Loma to try to make Loma come forward. And that's why he's talking shit to Prograis as well, to make him come forward and making an easier fight on himself.
I mean, Regis is 34. I mean, he's about 10 years older. I wonder if that's a factor, and also the fact he's been at 140 his whole career.
Yeah,
it's not the same like when you're 24. Making that weight.
He looked kind of drained as well.
Yeah, the cheekbones were very, very high. If
And
if
and
the
and, and
Mhm.
Haney looked like a welterweight. I mean,
Well, I think, yeah. Well, Devin Haney, I think at the end of the day will probably be a welterweight because physically he blows up. I
Mhm.
mean, but he like it's not ain't not a secret. He's not a big puncher. You know, he has shown heart when he got rocked by what's his name, the Venezuelan
Linares.
Linares, right? He got buzzed. Very bad. And like Ofacio said, there's going to come a moment in that fight that Regis is going to catch him, and how's he going to react to that type of punching power? But I just think that maybe this fight is 2 years too late for Regis.
I agree with that too.
Yeah.
Iceman, any thoughts? What do you think on this fight?
I mean, I go by in my heart, in my mind, I go by the timing of a fight, and it just seems to me this is much more of Devin's time. You know what I mean? This is his time. He's 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 young, he's fast, he's hot right now. He's got a lot of motivation. He's got a lot of upswing. If I'm gonna bet $10, I'm gonna bet on Haney.
On Haney.
Yeah.
And real quick before I get in my prediction, William Old School, he's from Louisiana, so of course he's going with his hometown fighter with Regis, but he said D Free is right. He woke up the dog in Regis, and now they have to pay. We'll see. I'm also picking Haney in this fight in a unanimous decision. I feel like both guys are gonna get dropped this fight.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know. I don't know because
Really?
Regis got dropped his last fight. They didn't count it, and that guy wasn't a big puncher.
Yeah, but Devin hasn't dropped nobody in like 5 years.
I know. I mean, it's a prediction, So I mean,
I hope
I got Haney in it. I got Haney in a unanimous decision. And they supposedly they sold out. They filled out the arena. They sold out the fight in his hometown.
They say they sold out, but I've seen.
Did they pay? Did they pay it? Did they pay?
I don't know because I've seen
a lot of comps.
I've seen at Ticketmaster that there's still tickets, but people say those are resale tickets. So I don't know. So I don't know if they truly sold out or not. But I mean, the fight is doing well. Whether it's completely sold out or they sold out 90%, it's still better than what Regis usually sells. And Devin, of course, he's been in a couple of big fights. But the last couple of fights that Regis been in hasn't done as many ticket sales as this one is doing.
Another thing too that somebody brought to my attention today in my gym was that they told me, he was like, name one southpaw that did not touch Devin Haney and hurt him.
I mean, JoJo didn't hurt him, but JoJo landed. JoJo's southpaw, right? Isn't JoJo a southpaw?
Yeah,
JoJo landed.
He's very small. He's very small though.
JoJo can make 130. Remember that JoJo can make 130.
Yeah, Loma hurt Devin in the last fight. He got hurt. I think it was round 10 or round 11. He got hurt in that fight.
Yeah, and then it was Linares.
Linares too. But that's why I say I want to see how he reacts to Regis' power because I believe at some point he's going to get caught because, like I said, he gets hit a lot more in the later rounds. He slows down. He doesn't move as much. He stands in front of his opponents a lot more in the later rounds because of the so much activity that he does in the earlier rounds. Because on the earlier rounds, he's doing a lot more moving. He's using his jab and he's moving. But when it gets to the later rounds, the second half of those fights, he tends to slow down because he's trying to conserve that energy to make it through 12 rounds because he's done so much moving in the earlier rounds.
And also you just can't swim without getting wet. So that's another thing too. There ain't no way you're gonna go on a fight and not get hit. It's impossible.
Yeah, that's a good point. Real quick, Sock, you think so you're trying to tell me that Eddie Hearn's a lie because Eddie Hearn doesn't tell the truth? He said that the fight sold out.
Eddie Hearn's a promoter.
I know. I just wanted his I just wanted Sock's reaction.
Look, Eddie Hearn's a businessman, right? Promoter and businessman. If you look it up in the dictionary, it's the same thing, right? He's gonna say that it's the greatest, fight. It's the fight of the century. Blah blah blah. He's gonna do his part, I mean, look, people there's filling up seats and actually buying seats, right? So I don't know. Devin Haney, he's from San Francisco originally, right? Although they've been campaigning that he's from Oakland, but he's really not. Because for some reason he doesn't want to be associated with San Francisco. You fill in the blank, right? I think, I think the fight is going to have a lot of interest. I think it's a good fight because it's two contrasting styles. You got a big puncher. Regis is a tough guy too. Aside from boxing, Regis is like a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like, he's not a punk at all. I think if the one factor, I mean, he's got like man strength, right? There's a difference between a guy that's how old is Devin again? 25?
25.
Okay, 25.
Okay, that's
Ofacio's 23.
I think this is going to be the toughest fight that Devin's had, because he has to be focused. Like D Free has said, he's on his toes a lot. Can he keep that pace for 12 rounds? And I think Regis has to be on him, from the opening bell, and he cannot give away the first 8 rounds of the fight. I think that's what Devin's looking to get off early.
Yeah,
and then try to maintain the lead. I don't see him knocking out Prograis at all.
Somebody told me that Regis. Well, I was watching an interview. Regis was like, and I think this is a big factor in this fight. They said that Regis. Regis said in the interview that that the ref is going to be fair, and I feel like that's going to be a big part because when Devin grabs and holds to get a guy off the ropes, to get himself off the ropes, is the ref going to allow that, or is he going to start calling points? That's a good point. Too.
That's a good point, but I don't like to hear a fighter talk about that, because once you start thinking about the ref, you pretty much not in the fight. You have to focus on the man in front of you. You have to focus on the man in front of you. The ref is going to be the ref. I mean, you can't control the ref. He's going to do what he's got to do. But you focus on what you can do. What you can do, that's what you do. But when you start talking about the ref, something that you have no control over, you're taking yourself out of the fight.
Yeah, your job is to make adjustments.
Ice, have you ever looked at like a ref or like a judge and say, "Oh, we got this effing guy"?
Yeah.
let's keep it a buck.
Every fighter that fought Mayweather.
Well, there's the fact is, referees and judges, they're human. They have preferences. Certain guys say they like a strong guy, an aggressive guy. They're Jake LaMotta was their hero. Joe Frazier was their hero. And they don't give points for smooth boxing, slick boxing, that type of thing. So the judges and the referees, I know with us, every fight, bigger fight that we've gone into with Chad and with Beterbiev and those guys, we always review the judges. And I've seen cases where a manager will be like, no, this guy can't ref our fight. And they've gotten guys removed for sure. That's happened. Okay. And it's very smart. And a lot of people in boxing don't know you can do that. They don't know that you can veto a judge. You can veto a ref. And if you get the right person and the right rationale behind it, if you have some juice behind you. And that's why behind the scenes is so important, because there are refs who are famous for liking infighting. And there's refs who are famous for breaking up fights on the inside. And you have to know which one is going to benefit your fighter.
Who was your favorite ref as a fighter, and who's your favorite ref? Who as a fighter when you were fighting? Who was the guy that
I like
coming up?
Steve Smoger. I like
R.I.P. Yeah.
Steve let you fight. He
the death.
He related to the fighters. Like,
is he talking about the guy who
didn't want to quit? And I think Artur Mercanti Jr. was good. And I give a shout out, man. There's a guy, and I can't remember his name. It's on the tip of my tongue, but he's the guy who refereed Arthur's fight with Marcus Brown. And if you remember, Marcus Brown headbutted Artur, and Artur had a, but I don't know if they called it a headbutt, but
Yep.
he had that horrible cut early in the fight.
Yeah.
And instantly there was so much blood. Instantly, I'm in the corner and I'm like, they're gonna stop this fight. There's no way we're gonna make it to the end of this fight. And every round, I'm waiting for them to stop it. And that guy did not stop it. He did not stop it. He let it go. And he kept checking on us. And he could see that the blood wasn't, it looked horrible. It looked like a horror movie, but it wasn't going directly in the eyes. It was going on the side. And he used his brain and he let the fight go. And Artur ended up winning by knockout. That could have went very differently with a different fight, different ref.
I tell people all the time, you never want to make Artur bleed because every time he bleeds, he goes for the kill.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny about him? I'll tell you, and we're talking about mentality. I always talk about mentality as a fighter. Mentality is everything as a fighter, 100%. And the thing about Artur, when he got that cut, and then he got cut again in England against Anthony Yard, at no time in that fight did Artur mention the cut at all. He didn't mention the cut. He didn't mention the bleeding. Most fighters will be like, how bad is it? Is it bleeding? How bad is it? Are they going to stop the fight? Whatever. Artur didn't say a word, nothing. You didn't even know that he noticed it. And he actually got stronger. Like you say, he got better and stronger. That actually pushed him to wear Marcus down more and get him out of there.
All right, I got one more question. I ask this all the time when people move up in weight. You don't think the weight helps Haney moving up in weight, and he filling out the frame more, and then of course he's going to gain more weight overnight. You don't think that matters in as far as strength and maybe power?
Me personally, I don't know him personally. I don't know his situation, but in general terms, yeah. I mean, when the majority of fighters struggle to some degree to make weight, and especially when they first make weight. I mean, when they first move up in weight, that's when they feel the freshest and they feel like they have weight to play with. It's psychological. They feel like they have extra weight to play with. They can eat a little more. They can drink a little more water. They don't have to be as stressed. So I know me personally, like the best I did at each weight was when I first moved up to it, because I felt psychologically like I had room to play. I didn't have to struggle so much like I did for the previous fights. So psychologically, I think it could be a big advantage for him to move up in weight, actually.
Okay.
Ofacio, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree with that. I fight at 130, but there are fights that, for example, my last fight, they called me on Monday to fight on Saturday. And I was in the gym all the time. I was helping Hitchens when he was going to fight Zepeda. So I was in the gym, but I wasn't, like losing weight. I was just maintaining whatever I was at, training and just eating whatever I wanted, just, the normal way. And they called me for the fight. They told me it was going to be 135, so I didn't have to go down that much. But they was like, instead make 34. And I was like, all right, no problem. I made 134. And honestly, I felt great. I didn't feel not how I usually feel, because I feel great at 130 regardless. But there's a big difference. You do have room to play when you're moving up a little bit. But again, it's only 3-4 pounds difference, and I did still feel like I was losing weight, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like I felt like I had to do extra to make 135 regardless. Like I still had to lose some weight. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, unless you're going up like 10 pounds, and then you see the difference. Like, okay, I got 10 pounds to play with, but 5 pounds I don't think is that big of a deal.
Okay.
Honestly. And it looked like Devin filled into it too.
Yeah,
he did. He looked good.
He missed weight. He missed weight. He had to take off his boxers.
No. What I did hear.
He weighed in twice?
Yeah, no.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But he missed weight with the boxers on, took off his boxers, then made 140 on the dot.
Yeah.
But that was earlier. That wasn't at the ceremonial then, probably, because they didn't show
No. Yeah, that was at the that was way earlier. Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. What I heard from Bill Haney is they was looking to go to 47 after this fight because Devin was having a hard time making 140.
No, because I heard he called out John Ennis.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to get in there, by all means, go ahead and get in there. But I don't think he want to tackle that beast right now.
Yeah, Duran's different.
Both of them? Are they going? It's gonna be a handicap match.
It might have to be. It might have to be because Duran. I like Devin. I like all these guys. I don't have a favorite fighter. I like all these guys. But Devin getting in there with Duran after you only had one fight at 140 and you jumping right up to another weight class at 147 and getting there with Duran. I don't think that's a good move.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Honestly, bro, anybody at 147, you should stay away from Duran regardless. That dude is different. He's a complete fighter, bro.
Yeah, Duran right now, Duran is the man at 147 because Earl and Bud is gone. They both gone. So Duran is the man at 147, and I truly, honestly, don't see nobody beating Duran at 47. Not right now. Now there might be somebody. He might come in there and have a bad day, and somebody might be able to beat him. But just going off of what we see and everything that's on paper, I don't see nobody beating Duran at 47 right now.
I agree with that, bro.
The division got a lot weaker overnight. You know, because I mean, because at one point it was Duran and Virgil Ortiz, who's going to be the guy, the future of the welterweight division. Virgil, you know, he moved up to 54, and then like you said, you know, Crawford and Spence, you know, they're on a different, they're in a different tax bracket. Put it that way. So, there's no one at 47.
Real quick, Ofacio, we just mentioned boots and stuff, and you briefly just mentioned that you sparred with Hitchens. What do you think of, you know, I know, and then two questions. So what do you think of Hitchens as a fighter? I know he fights at 140. And then any other notable fighters you sparred with that we know of, and what do you think of them as fighters?
Hitchens is very sharp. He's an amazing boxer. He's very sharp. He knows how to use his range. He's very good at distance. I sparred with Richard Comey. I actually sparred Devin Haney too. But that was when I was like 17. I don't know how old he was. I'm 23. He was like, I guess, 19, 18. He was 2-0 as a pro, so I know that much. And I was saying I sparred him, another guy. But the difference between them two is Devin he has more output, but Hitchens is more accurate. So it's like that's like the big difference. They're both sharp though. Both of them are sharp. I sparred Richard Comey too. That guy has power. Duke Mecca. You guys know Duke, right? Duke Mecca. I think he stopped fighting though. Him too. I fought a lot of players, bro. Joseph Adorno. Got a lot of players.
Okay. Nice. Iceman, I thought you didn't drink. Is that a beer?
Green tea.
I know. Listen, I paid attention to what you were saying. I paid attention, so I heard the cans. You know.
Listen, I've never tasted alcohol my whole life.
Nice. Wow.
I don't even know what beer tastes like.
I'll send you an email. I'll let you know how it tastes.
Okay.
I don't really got anything else. I mean, there's a couple other fighters tomorrow. Not many big fights. I know. Xander Zayas is fighting tomorrow. I don't know what you guys think of him. D-Free, sorry.
You got Montana Love fighting tomorrow.
Montana Love.
He's coming back off the long layoff.
I got him. I think he's gonna stop Liam Perro.
Okay.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of him.
The jury is still out on Montana Love. I don't know if he's a boxer or he wants to be a model. I don't know what he is.
His last fight, he got himself DQ'd.
Yeah. And he was winning that fight.
He quit. No, he wasn't. That Australian guy was taking it to him.
It was a weird fight. I know it was a disqualification, but
it was a disqualification. What happened was the
Australian guy was beating him
with a good shot and dropped him. Montana Love got up and he pretty much pushed him out the ring.
That was BS.
So they disqualified him.
Look, I'm gonna make a prediction for you guys right now. If Montana Love wins this fight, which I hope he did, because I got a parlay bet waiting for him. If he wins this fight, Hitchens and him are next. I'm calling that now.
That was a fight that was supposed to happen.
They were calling.
I was helping Hitchens for Montana Love, but then something happened between Hitchens told me that something about Montana had something with his head, like an injury with his head. I don't know. He had to get a scan and he had to wait some time. And then Montana announced that as well. Eddie Hearn stood by him. and now they're not fighting. But since Hitchens don't have a fight, and Montana Love is fighting now, that'll make the most sense coming up now. You know what I'm saying?
But I thought I saw Hitch's name come up as like a mandatory fight for Matias's belt.
Matias. But I don't think Hitchens is gonna do that. Only because if I was him, like that rehydration for the IBF is crazy.
I mean,
Okay.
it's a 10-pound rehydration.
Yeah, but
clause.
Hitchens is a big 140. Like if you see him in person, he's a big 140.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't feel like to fight Matias, the guy's gonna put pressure like that, and for like go back to what we were saying earlier for that weight loss. I feel like Matias's pressure, and because of the weight loss, is gonna play a big factor in that fight, and that's a 12-round fight. So I don't know.
Do you think it'd be a more of a factor for Hitchens than it would for Montana Love? Because you say he's a big 140-pounder. You think it'd be more of a factor for him than it would be for Montana Love?
What do you mean? Like Montana Love fighting him?
Montana could make the weight easier than Hitchens can make it.
Yeah, but Montana's also shorter than him too. He's like 5'8". I'm 5'7". He's 5'8". So he can't be that too much taller than me. And Hitchens is like 5'10". So I feel like that makes a big like Hitchens is big. He gets big too. Like I've seen him in between fights, he gets big.
Okay.
Weight does I agree earlier, weight is a big factor. And I feel like if I was him, and because of the 10-pound rehydration, I wouldn't want to fight Matias like that. I'd rather fight Matias for a different belt where there isn't that many, like that isn't a weight rehydration clause there, you know what I'm saying? I'd rather fight Matias for like a WBC or something.
I was trying to get the fight with Montana Love and my little cousin. I was trying to get Antoine in there with Montana Love.
That fight, I got Antoine all day.
I was trying to get Antoine.
That dude, I don't know how he hits so hard, bro.
I mean, the Russells go to the gym 5 days a week, and they've been doing that since they was 6 years old. Every day after school, they do their homework. They go to the gym.
But can I ask you a question?
Every day, like yeah.
I go to the gym like 5-6 days a week. I don't got power like them, so I don't understand. Like, what are they doing?
You talking about the power that he has? He was just born like that because if you look at Mr. Gary, he got okay power, but he don't have the power that Antoine got. And then if you look at Antonio don't have the power. They all got. Mr. Gary and Antoine got okay power, but Antoine just got stopping power. Antoine, he's built different. He's the baby out of all of them. He was just built different.
Yeah, Antoine, what is he like 17-0 with like 17 knockouts, right?
Yep.
He's 18, either 18 or 19-0 with 18 or 19 knockouts.
Yeah, all his wins.
All his wins. He's 100% knockout ratio. Yeah, 100% knockout ratio. I think he got 19 fights. I think he just the fight that he just had the summer of this year was his 19th fight.
Okay.
Wait, as a matter of fact, I think Matias is gonna fight Teofimo.
I don't think he's gonna take it because his hands is broken. Matias' hands.
All I'm saying is you gotta respect Teofimo for going for the toughest guy, bro.
Yeah, but he's going after him because he knows his hands are broken right now.
You think?
Yeah, no, I know. He was on an interview with Marquez. It's a Spanish interview, and he shows his hands. His hand is messed up.
Oh, so you think Teo seen that interview and then came up with that? Oh,
that's what I think. I mean,
see, now if it wasn't, now if it's like that, then it's a different story. But if it wasn't, then I gotta
he asked for like March or April. You know, he needed, but not for February.
And Teo's like, no, I'm gonna fight in February, so there's no way I'm gonna fight in March or April.
Yeah, but Teo's not gonna be on that card on February 16th, right?
No, but I'm hearing that hell no, he's not. What I'm hearing is right now I was told that they got
March
7 fights. Yeah, like 6-7 fights. The card is full, but they're trying to fit time in for me and I don't know who else if they are trying to put anybody else.
Okay.
But I think Teo's gonna fight in March because I was also told I was gonna be on Teofimo's undercard as well in March. So that's what
is that going to be in the big house?
That's going to be in MSG.
Yeah, in the big, not in the theater though, right?
I don't know. That I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I know he should be fighting in March because February wouldn't make sense. Where would he fight on DAZN?
Yeah,
wouldn't make sense.
Ice, I have a question, Ice. As far as the old cliche that punches are born, kind of like piggybacking off of what D3 was saying. Are punches born, or can a quote unquote puncher be developed?
Well, I would put it this way: you're not gonna turn Paul Spadafora into Gerald McClellan with any weights or technique or anything. Like, it's never gonna happen. So you're born with it, and the reason being, I've sparred literally over 1,000 people in my life. Like, I keep track, right? And I've sparred with guys who never had a fight in their lives, who punched harder than some professional fighters that I've been in with, right? So the power was, they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know how to deliver the punch. The power was just natural. And I know guys who throw perfect punches. Look at Howard Davis Jr. Nobody threw punches better than Howard. Howard was a textbook fighter, but he couldn't knock anybody out. Like, he just didn't have that power. So a guy, you could never take a guy and turn him into Gerald McClellan or Julian Jackson, that type of power. I think you can improve power to a certain degree with technique and balance and weight distribution. But if a guy isn't born with Julian Jackson power, he's not going to develop that.
So then that goes back to the question earlier then. So Devin Haney's moving up in weight, so that means he's not going to have more power then.
Well, now, if a guy, we don't know if he's struggling with weight. A lot of guys don't have a lot of knockouts because they may struggle with weight and they're afraid to commit because they don't want to wear themselves out. It could be any number of reasons. I remember, I'll give you an example. I don't know if you remember Eric Harding, but Eric Harding was a good light hitter.
Yes.
He was the first guy to beat Antonio Tarver.
Yeah.
Eric, I sparred Eric a lot. When I fought Michael Nunn, Eric was my main sparring partner. Eric could punch. Like, anybody who boxed Eric would say, you don't want to let him hit you, especially with 2 or 3 at a time. But at one point, he had like 22 victories and 6 knockouts. Like, his knockout percentage was literally horrible because he was a boxer first and foremost. He was slick. He was trying to set you up. He wasn't going for the knockout unless he had you hurt. So you could go in with Eric thinking he's not a puncher, and you turn around, make a mistake, and all of a sudden you're out of there. So it could be any number of reasons. I think with Eric was just a thing where he wasn't worried about it because he was so confident in his boxing, in his slickness. He didn't worry about getting hit that much anyway. But I know guys who moved up in weight and became better punchers, theoretically, but it was because they were struggling to make weight. And now that at the higher weight, they could let their hands go more and not worry about getting tired, and they could commit to their punches more. So ultimately, we're just gonna have to see. I don't know. Everything I say is strictly a guess because I don't know Devin personally. I don't know what he weighs. Who knows? But we'll see soon enough.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you picking Haney to win as well? Is it? I think
I'm gonna go with Devin.
I think everybody in the panel is picking Haney. Yeah, sorry, William. I know William is a fan. Sorry. Well, he says Tank and Wilder in a class with the hardest hitters in boxing. I think Wilder is the hardest puncher in the history of boxing.
History?
Really? Wow.
History.
How big is that history book? Are we talking Cliff Notes?
George Foreman knocked out
what the fuck?
Ken Norton and Joe Frazier in 4 rounds total.
Yeah.
We got to. I don't think Deontay Wilder's not a bigger puncher than Julian Jackson.
Fuck out of here. Hell no.
Julian Jackson, even Mike Tyson,
those guys,
and everybody knows.
To be fair, those guys had punching power in both hands. Wilder's right hand, it's not, maybe not in both hands, but Wilder's right hand, it's debatable, I think.
But listen, Julian Jackson hit people where it looked like you say they're dead. I think the guy is actually dead this time.
YouTube Harold Graham. The Harold Graham knockout was crazy.
That's one of them. But listen, I was there when he knocked out Terry Norris in Atlantic City, and I remember saying to my friend, "I think Terry's dead." I think he's dead.
Wow.
Crazy.
You know,
Jesus.
and
Hey, I thought Brazil was there when he got caught with that right hand from Wilder. I thought he was
yeah,
there. The way
You
his
know,
body just collapsed.
That was sick.
Like he got hit flesh going straight in, and his body just collapsed straight down. He didn't fall back or nothing. He just collapsed. I was
right.
like, did he
You
kill
know,
him?
Bob Foster. You know, you could look up Bob Foster's knockouts. I mean, you know,
I don't know if Wilder has the hardest punch in the history of boxing, but he's up there with the hardest
Yeah.
punches in boxing.
No,
Well,
yeah, that you could say.
you
Yeah,
know
that
It also depends who's in front of you, no?
right.
Yeah.
But look at here's what I say.
I think
as a
I think Wilder
comparison.
would put any heavyweight to sleep, honestly, bro. If he touches him
But
right.
people
hard,
say, who's the 10 best fighters in the world, right?
That was crazy.
There's too many guys who could be in the top 10 in the world. There's 30 guys who could be in the top 10 of the best in the world right now. It's the same thing with punchers.
Yeah.
There's so many good punchers from history. You know, it's crazy to say one is better than the other. I mean, there's levels, but they're all at a high level. You couldn't go wrong choosing any of them.
Right.
I mean, growing up, you always heard Ernie Shavers, the hardest puncher in the history of the heavyweight division, right?
Right. And his
Yeah, he
knockout
was
percentage
considered.
is, you know, I think Ernie had something like 69 knockouts out of 72 victories, something like that. I mean, his percentage is ridiculous. You know, yeah. There's some good ones for sure.
Who's the hardest puncher you ever faced? Sparring or in a real fight?
Lamar Kidfire Parks from Greenville, South Carolina.
Okay.
Lamar.
That was-
Roy Jones was up there, but Roy could hit you with 3 or 4 or 5. But Lamar, every punch, like when he hit you with one, it was like I remember thinking, and it occurred to me, he might have a rock or something in his glove. That's what it crossed my mind. You know, something illegal was in the glove because he hit so hard.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, them guys down south are raised different.
Yeah. That's right.
Like Popeye.
Hey,
I don't really have anything.
Every guy I've ever been in the ring when I did my little amateur fighting. Every guy I ever been in the ring with that was from the south, it was like, okay, I know he punched hard. I just gotta move. I just gotta move because I know he punched hard. I've never been in a ring with somebody from the south. Now they might not have had the skills, but I've never been in a ring with somebody from the south that didn't punch hard. They all punch hard. Every guy I've ever been in a ring with from the south all punch hard.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Any other fights tomorrow that notable? I know a couple of guys, and I know Shushu's fighting tomorrow.
Yeah, Shushu.
Shushu's fighting tomorrow.
What's a good
Shushu
fight?
Carrington.
Shushu's gonna destroy that guy. Shushu's
Now,
good.
we were talking about the weight. Was it me or did Shushu look like a skeleton up there?
He does, yes.
He looked extra small today.
But I think he looked like that all his fights, bro. Honestly, I feel like his last 2 fights he looked the same way.
I never paid attention to Shushu at the weigh-ins. I was always just trying to catch the main event. This is the first time that I actually paid attention to Shushu because he was one of the like 3 or 4 guys that was notable names that's on the card. And so I paid attention. I'm looking. I'm like, he looked extra small.
Oh,
is that at ESPN Plus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jahai Tucker.
Oh yeah, Jahai Tucker's fighting.
That's gonna be a good fight. I'm gonna be honest. I got Jahai, but I feel like they cheated him off his first loss.
And this is coming off his first loss, right?
Yeah.
I think his last fight was his first loss. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were trying to get him to fight him and Xander to kind of like hook up.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
That'd be a crazy fight. I don't know if I'm going crazy by saying this, but like Mayweather and what's his name? Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah.
It's all over again. Yeah. That's the port. I mean, no, sorry, I'm bugging because Oscar was
Who that?
Oscar's Mexican.
Which this Jahai Tucker and Xander.
Xander's eyes.
So who would you favor in that fight?
I got Zion. And hey, don't get me wrong. I love my DMV brothers, but I got Zion.
Well, I'm biased.
I love you. I mean, I got ties to both. I got the Puerto Rican side, and then I got the DMV side. So I got ties to both. So
yeah. All right. And then the heavyweight, he's Mexican American. Torres.
Richard.
Yeah, Torres is gonna win. That's another dude that hit hard.
But he hasn't really fought anybody.
he has a. See, that's what I don't like. Like they putting him in there with guys that he's supposed to be. He's supposed to get the knockout, and that's the same thing they did with Berlanga. They kept putting him in there with guys that he was going to knock out in the first round. And then when he got
Torres,
somebody.
Yeah, and he should be fighting better competition because he's Olympian. Like he's been in the Olympics a couple of times in the Olympic Games. He should be fighting better competition than what he's fighting. You know, I mean, I don't know. He got stopped wicked in one of the Olympic Games by the Russian guy.
But here's the thing.
Maybe that's the reason why they're doing it then.
Now here's the thing. When you're building up a heavyweight, right, and it's a little different than the other weight classes, you have to build a good promoter and a good manager is going to build up the illusion of a destroyer, somebody that's going to breathe on you and stop you. So that's a big factor with Torres. You know, you have to build him up. You're right. I mean, he should be fighting better competition, but it's a process. I don't think you're going to see Richard Torres in a real fight until 2025. Just my opinion.
Probably.
He might get stopped. He might get stopped.
How old is he?
He like 25, 26.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's very few guys like Lomachenko that are fighting for world titles in the third pro fight when he fought.
I think it was a second.
Well, but Lomachenko was like 28 when he became a pro.
Right. Yeah. You know, so, but I think, you know,
same
with
thing.
heavyweights.
That's another one. Andy Cruz is fighting too.
Oh, yeah. I got him winning, though.
It's a second fight, I think, right?
Yeah, it's a second fight. And this
is
the second.
Where was his last fight?
Round fight?
He hasn't fought in a while, I don't think, right? Because he should be fighting more often. Andy Cruz.
No, Andy Cruz just fought a couple of months ago.
Oh, he did.
That's the Cuban.
The Cuban, yeah.
The Cuban.
He beat Keyshawn in the Olympics, I think.
Yeah, his first fight was a couple of months ago. Was his first fight was a 10-rounder, and then now this fight is a 10-rounder as well.
Okay. Well, that's good. 10-rounder. I mean, usually they're fighting like 6 or 8 or whatever. You know, but it's the second fight, right? No.
Yeah, second fight.
Second fight, yeah, it's a pro.
So
Let's see what happens.
He's starting off. He just started off with 10 rounders. He said, "I've been in the amateurs for umpteen years. It's time for me to just go straight to the 10 rounds."
He's a gold medalist. Like, I mean, yeah.
2 times. I think he's 2-time gold medalist.
I'm going to segue off of the word that you just used, and I'm going to direct this to Ice and then Ofacio. The Olympic team. There was some. I'm going to call it controversy. They selected about 4 or 5 fighters because they fought in the Pan Am Games. I don't know if you heard of this. I saw our mutual friend, Mr. Woods, I forget where he's from. He had a guy. Basically, they picked 4 fighters from the Pan Am Games. They didn't even have to go through the Olympic trials, and they already selected them for the Olympic team. What are your thoughts on that?
That's bullshit. And that's not fair.
I'm not a fan at all.
Total cap. Bullshit. 100%.
I can't believe they're doing this. They're coming up over the last few years. They're coming up with all kinds of different things that they're changing within their boxing, and I don't agree with any of it. They actually, it's funny you say that because they actually have done it here in Canada as well.
Really?
A couple weight classes here. I literally just found this out today. There's a couple guys here that because they did well in the Pan Am Games, they don't have to qualify anymore for the Olympic. So it's crazy.
Wow.
That isn't fair, man.
No,
I mean,
there's a lot of people that work their ass off to just make it.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
What thing I say?
Well, I think I'm gonna tell my nephew, hey, Just go do well in the Pan Am Games. You go to the Olympics. Don't even worry about the trials. Just go to
Wait, no.
Pan
You
Am
can't
Games.
forget though. You can't forget. He got to know people too.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's another thing too.
You
Politics matter in boxing, bro.
you gotta get to the Pan Am Games though. The Pan Am Games is just like the Olympics. You still gotta qualify.
And then look good, and talk to everybody that crossed your path.
I got a nephew that fight amateur right now. He's 16 years old. He fight light heavyweight. He's 16 years old. He's like 6'3". He's fighting light heavyweight, and I mean they call him the Quiet Storm because he's a real quiet guy. He don't talk much. Like literally, you wouldn't even know he was in a room if he was standing right behind you. He don't say too many words at all. But he gets in the ring and a whole nother side that I never seen from my nephew comes out.
Do the Olympics even mean what they did back in? I mean, back in your day, Ice.
Look, I don't even know when the Olympics are. No, the Olympics. In my day, the Olympics was everything.
Yeah.
And the reason being, like, the Olympic trials and the USA versus the world, Howard Cosell, ABC.
Yes.
They made it big. Howard Cosell.
Yes.
A lot of people don't realize Howard Cosell made Sugar Ray Leonard the star
1,000%.
that he was. He brought it out. He showcased him to the world. He chose him. He could have chose anyone to highlight, but he saw what Ray did, and he highlighted Ray. He did the same thing with other people. He tried to do it with Mark Breland in '84. Now that there's so many things have changed within amateur boxing that I don't even know when. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't tell you 5 amateurs right now in the country. I could tell you 100 from 1984. I could name you 100 guys off the top of my head without even thinking about it because they were well known. They were exposed. Mark Breland was in People magazine when he was still an amateur. Now, people knew when you were in 1984. You knew Mark Breland. You knew Tyrell Biggs. You knew these guys even before they turned pro. I guarantee you tell me who the number 165 pounder is in the country today and go to any gym in New York City and ask people if they ever heard of him, and I bet you they'll tell you no. It's a different world. They don't have regional tournaments anymore. It used to be where you had to qualify to go to the nationals. You had to go to a regional tournament. So there were 16 regions in the country. So there were 16 champions at the nationals. A few years ago, they started a thing where now you just go. Anybody could go. So you get a guy. I went a few years ago as a coach. They had a guy with 5 fights at the U.S. national championships, which is insane. Like, there's no way that would have happened years ago.
Yeah. I remember they used to have the ringside tournament on NBC from Kansas City.
Right.
Not too long ago in the late 90s. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different world.
People don't care about amateur boxing anymore because, like I say, back in the day, Howard Cosell, everybody knew Howard Cosell. Football fans knew Howard Cosell. Tennis fans, baseball fans. So when he told you about Sugar Ray Leonard, you listened.
Right.
And now he made Breland a star. And nowadays there are no Howard Cosells anymore. It's a different world. And amateur boxing is almost, invisible to the average boxing fan.
Real quick, Donnie just mentioned something. He said something. Olympics are everything, but it's the dirtiest of all sports. When it was dirty, even when it was great, we saw some of the greatest take ones. I guess he's trying to say
take losses.
Take L's. You got to use capital L next time, Donnie.
Oh, Roy against the Korean.
Yeah, that was the worst.
Floyd got a loss that he shouldn't have got.
That was the worst robbery in history.
Floyd, Roy Jones,
Evander when he fought David Tua's coach.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name. Nice guy.
Yeah, Kevin Barry.
There you go.
Yeah, but the thing is, that was they hit after the break, and it was a judgment call. Like Roy decimated his opponent. He won every second of every round. There's no one on the face of the earth who could have voted against him, and they still robbed him. That was, that's the biggest robbery ever in history, by far. Because there's no way in the world you could watch that fight 100 times, and 100 times you will say Roy Jones won that fight easily.
Speaking of Roy Jones, do you think he should have retired after the Ruiz fight? And if he retired after the Ruiz fight, I mean, I don't know what people think now, but would he be considered maybe the greatest fighter of all time, or at least top 3? I think.
Of course.
Okay. But him fighting on kind of, I think.
Well, that's why I said, I think I was saying earlier, when you ask me who's the best fighter, I always go by their prime. I don't go by how their career ended. Because look, here's the fact of the matter. You know who had 19 losses in their career? 19 losses. Do you know who? What great fighter had 19 losses? 19. I'll tell you. Sugar Ray Robinson.
Oh, Sugar Ray Robinson. Yeah, because he had over 100
Sugar Ray
fights.
Robinson
Yeah.
is considered by many the greatest fighter of all time, and he gets a pass even though he had 19 losses. Roy Jones doesn't get it for whatever reason, but Roy Jones in his prime, you can hate him, you can say he ran, whatever you want to say. Who's going to beat Roy Jones in his prime on his best day? Who's going to beat him?
That's fair.
Nobody's going to beat that guy. I don't care what, nobody. There's nobody. And I'll take it a step further. And he said this. Roy said this, and I had been thinking it. If you watch him and you watch Floyd Mayweather. Now, Floyd Mayweather technique and all, I get that. But if you're a fighter and if you poll 100 fighters and go, let me ask you a question. If you could be either Floyd Mayweather or Roy Jones, punching power, defense, style, speed, combination punching, who would you rather be? Overwhelmingly, they're going to say Roy. Overwhelmingly, they're going to say Roy. Roy didn't, with Floyd, if you saw one Floyd fight, and Floyd's great. I'm not downing Floyd at all, but I'm saying if you saw one Floyd fight, that's all you need to see, because that was every fight he ever had. He beat everybody the same exact way. He played with him, and he toyed with him, and he pot-shotted him, and he beat him up, and he outpointed him. There was very little threat of a devastating knockout, an exciting, electrifying knockout. You can't say that.
Pretty Boy Floyd was pretty exciting in some fights.
I mean, overall, look for the last 5 years of his career, I'll tell you this much. Check back with me in 20 years. You tell me how many Floyd Mayweather fights you popped into the DVD and watched.
That's fair.
None of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'll watch Roy Jones knock out Percy Harris and Brian Brannon and Art Shawano and Jorge Vaca. I mean, devastating, vicious combinations. And, Roy was special. And I think
Virgil Hill, the body shot.
Yeah, one shot. The
body shot was crazy.
James was incredible. And Roy was special, man. And his song, it's funny, but his song was right.
Yeah.
People forgot. They forgot. They literally
forgot.
They forgot who he was. It's just like if you ask the average boxing fan from this era, if they even know who Hector Camacho is, they will say, he was boring, he was old, he was slow, he got beat by De La Hoya. I said, listen, you got to watch. He got beat by De La Hoya in 1997. You have to watch Camacho 1982. And then you tell me what you think. Camacho was a beast back in his day. By the time he fought Oscar and Tito and went 12 rounds with them, he was 100 years past his best day. So
the Bazooka Limon.
If you tell me, was Camacho a great fighter? And I say, yeah. And you say, yeah, but you saw him against De La Hoya. I say, well, I'm not talking about that guy. I'm talking about the guy that beat Bazooka Limon. That's who I'm talking about. It's a different human being. Roy Jones in his prime is not the guy that lost to all those guys in Russia and Australia. It's a different human being.
Yeah. That's fair.
Right. It's like judging Ali losing to Trevor Berbick.
You know what Floyd said one day? Listen, I'll tell you right now, I love Floyd as a boxer, great fighter, the whole night, right? Floyd Mayweather, unless he's doing it on purpose for some reason, Floyd does not know anything about boxing history. He is a zero when it comes. You could not talk history with him because he doesn't know. And I know that because when he talks about Ali, he actually says, well, how could Ali be the greatest when he lost to a guy who only had eight fights? Talking about Leon Spinks.
Leon Spinks, yeah.
Now, if you don't understand the situation with that, then you shouldn't even be allowed to talk about boxing. You know what I mean? Like Floyd sounds ridiculous. He sounds literally like a casual fan when he says things like that. That's something a guy who hardly watches boxing but heard about it back when he was a kid would say. You know what I mean? If you bring up Muhammad Ali losing to Leon Spinks as a way to downgrade his career, then I know you don't know what you're talking about, and I'm not listening to anything else you have to say.
Yeah, that's fair. Anything else, guys? I don't really have anything else.
Other than Arthur, who is there anyone else that you're working with, Ice?
Yeah, I started working with a kid, Stephen Butler, from Montreal, who actually he just won a fight about 3 weeks ago in Canada. He's getting ready to fight Steve Rolls, which is in Canada is a big fight. It's like the two best middleweights in Canada. That fight's coming up in February. Steve is his record's like 34-4 with like 27 knockouts. Big puncher. He actually lost before his last fight. He fought John Beck for the title, and John Beck stopped him. I wasn't training him, but he stopped. And not making an excuse, but just so you have the understanding, his best friend, who's his wife's brother, was murdered literally right before the fight.
Wow.
And it didn't do him any favors. You know what I mean? Now John Beck's a beast anyway. I'm not saying he would have beat John Beck or killed him or anything like that, but just to understand the situation. But he's a good fighter. He's getting ready to fight Steve Rolls, who I think you guys would know him. He went 10 rounds with Berlanga. I think he might have been the first
person.
Triple G.
Right. So he, he's a good fighter. He was a good fighter. We've been working very well together, and the fight with Steve is in February. So I got a busy couple months coming up.
Good luck.
Okay,
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
And the Beterbiev 5 is in when? It's in a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, it's in the middle of January. It's in a little over. It's like about 5 weeks.
Oh, it's in January. Okay.
Yeah, it's in Quebec City.
Okay, nice. And you
That's
said
gonna be
Beterbiev
that's televised, right?
Yeah, it'll be ESPN.
Okay.
And you said Beterbiev doesn't really like to do press or anything like that. He doesn't,
He'll his English is, he struggles with it a little bit. He might be a little self-conscious, but at this point, it's tough to get him to do media. He's a focused individual,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys coming on. We'd love to have you back. We could talk boxing again. Maybe the lead up to the fight, maybe a week or two before the fight, maybe you come up. And Ofacio, when you get the announcement, maybe you want to come here and announce the fight. Hopefully you'll be on February 16th.
God willing.
Yeah. We'll be in there. Sock said he's not going to go if you're not on there. So
No.
I want to go.
I'll be with the remote in my hand.
I want to go. I like to go. I want to go. So you got to make sure you're there so we can go.
Fireworks if I'm there. I promise.
Oh, definitely.
Promise.
We're going to be in the theater.
I've never been on.
Ice, you got to take the drive up.
I've always dreamed of always being on ESPN, and I'm praying that happens so that I can get my moment on there. I've been on The Zone. I've been on Telemundo. I've been on everything, on Golden Boy. I've been on those stuff. I want to be on ESPN. That's my next step.
And you fought.
You got to take the drive up, Ice.
Your last fight was in the theater, right?
Yeah, it was in the theater. Yeah,
it was in the Berlanga card, I think. Yeah,
the Berlanga card. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. All right, my man Clarence is there. I think you may know Clarence Ofacio. He be sometimes in the gym over there, but yeah, man, this was great, man. I appreciate you guys for coming on. I'll be in touch with both of you guys through SOC, and maybe we can have you guys on again. And any last words?
Oh yeah, one thing. Sock, you could sell me my $1 million after.
As soon as the check from Tom comes in, as soon as it clears, it's going your way.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but times are hard in the boulevard. So,
guys, it was a pleasure meeting everybody on here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ofacio. I appreciate you.
Thank you, bro.
All right.
All right, guys.
Hey,
Go to
thank you,
bed.
Iceman. I appreciate you coming on as well.
For having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All
Be
right.
safe and
Thank
God
you.
bless you guys.
All right.
Ice, thank you.
Okay, see you.
All right. Time to talk pigskin.
You're gonna do the segment in the league where they play for pay.
I have not looked at one single game.
I haven't. Yeah.
I mean, I know about the game of the week is the Cowboys and the Eagles, as we all know.
It's not Seattle and the Niners.
Well, it's your season. Does Pete? Can Pete rally the troops?
Hey, if your team could play like they played against the Cowboys, y'all got a chance.
It could be a trap game for the Niners.
It could be. It's in San Francisco or Santa Clara. By the way, I got a text from Donnie. Early on,
Nick Bosa might have been, might be with his boyfriend the night before, in San Fran. He may catch him, slipping.
By the way, Georgie said he'll come on next week. He said he had to do something with his wife last minute. I think he's on vacation. That's what Donnie texted me. So he was all for it. He responded, yeah. So hopefully we have him on. I got to change the picture that I had and put Iceman over Georgie's face. I had everything set up with Georgie, and
Photoshop.
He's a freaking Cowboy fan. He's from the Bronx. He's a Cowboy fan. Yo, D Free. We have mad Cowboy fans in the Bronx in New York. Mad Niner fans. It's ridiculous, bro. But Georgie, he said he'll come on next week. I think Donnie said he'll speak to Alan Connors. Maybe you could get in touch with him too, because I know you know him as well. I was thinking, what I was thinking also, I know we're changing, so we're still on boxing. I spoke to Donnie on the phone earlier. I was thinking we should have like the Bronx crew, like the Steve-O crew. So we have Alan Conyers, we have Georgie, Donnie. Then we can have Carl Krauser come up because Carl knows Alan. I think they were in the same. They went to school together, I believe. I know. Donnie's older than Carl though.
That's a good gimmick. The only one missing would be Ed Pinkney.
He's old school.
Old school. But you know about Ed Pinkney.
Ed Pinkney? I know he's Dominican.
No, he's not.
Isn't he half Dominican? I thought he's half Dominican.
I have no idea. I remember from
I could have sworn he was half Dominican. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
He went to Villanova. Beat Patrick Ewing.
He went to Nova, and
he
was in the league.
Patrick Ewing.
Yeah. I thought he was half Dominican. There you go, Donnie. So, all right. So I don't know if you guys want to do the picks now. We go into it. We was on for a minute. We did mostly boxing. I left my notepad at the kitchen.
We normally recap Thursday.
But Thursday was a crappy game. Does anybody really care about what just happened yesterday?
We all lost that pick on our pick.
Nobody saw that.
So I got to ask you the question.
I did not see that coming.
I got to ask you the question. Are the Steelers cooked?
I think they're cooked.
Nah. As far as making it to the playoffs,
right?
Yeah,
they cooked.
I don't think they got a shot to make it to the playoffs. I think they might win a couple of more games because I think it's only 4 more games left
for them. Yes. Yeah, after this week,
I think it's only 4 more games left. So they might still have a shot to make it to the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to make it.
It's crazy that they lost back-to-back to Arizona and New England.
In Pittsburgh.
I think everyone penciled in 8.
Yeah, but no, you forget in Pittsburgh at home.
At home,
there was home loss. Those were 2 layups, or
WTF,
supposedly layups for Pittsburgh, and they lost at home. So
if they would have won both those games, I think they would be in a wild card seat right now.
Yeah, they were pretty. I think they were still wild card going into.
Well, they would still be within the division because they already beat Baltimore once.
Yeah,
and they got them one more time.
Yeah, but I think Baltimore might end up running away with the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, I think things are starting to catch up to Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh had won a bunch of close games. On defense, I mean, they have an All-Pro, obviously, with Watt and Highsmith. But offensively, with Pinkett and then they had the Trubinsky. I mean, that's just terrible.
And they got rid of the offensive coordinator, hoping that would help. And
Listen,
nothing has changed. And
can't
the
blame
defense
Canada.
Good in that first half. That defense looked pretty suspect. It would,
Zappy was getting in that,
Yeah, in the first half. I mean, they shut him out the second half, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 21-10 and at the half, and it 21-18. So, I mean,
Belichick owns Tomlin.
you just like throw that in. I hate Pittsburgh too, so screw them. Let me go get the pad. We go over the picks. Let's go into the picks because we've been on for a minute.
I don't even know how I did because I forgot what teams I picked.
I think everybody did good except for me. I went 0-3. That's all I know. I think you guys went 2.
That's good for you.
You ain't shit.
You were in first place, so I'm glad. I'm not gonna cap.
Yeah.
You got to bring me back to the pack.
You ain't
I
shit.
dropped my pen. Damn.
All right, so last week, Sock, you went 2-1. You had the Texans -3, Colts -1, and you lost with the team. One of the teams you hate. You took the Chiefs -6. They lost outright. So that brings you from 21-15 to 23-16 in first place. D Free is -3 games, but he was down. He was 15-17-1. He improves to 17-18-1. He took the Lions -4, the Chargers -5.5. They barely covered. They won 6-0, and then he lost with Tampa Bay -5. Carolina kind of scored. I think Carolina scored.
How the fuck you lose to Carolina?
They won, but they didn't cover the spread. They beat Carolina.
No, that's what I'm talking about. How you lose the spread to Carolina? They horrible.
In Tampa Bay too.
They might be the only team that's worse than the Patriots.
And then I went 0-3. I was 21-13-2. Now I'm 21-16-2. I took D Free's team, Washington +9.5. What was I thinking? I really thought that game was going to be closer.
You thought I was playing.
I took the Jags. They lost outright, and I took the Eagles +3. And you was right about that because you like the Niners in that game. And so I went 0-3. And just as a side note, Casey he took the Browns. He lost with the Browns. He took the Texans and the Niners. He would have went 2-1 if Casey was in our pool because he was playing along with us. And William Osku says nobody's worse than his Saints. They got they got a winnable game this week, but they got Winston started. So let me just bring up the screen so we can do our picks this week, and we can go to sleep.
I try to tell you, you ain't want to listen to me. Ever since we lost to the Giants, I said I'm not picking Washington ever again. I was playing.
I will not pick them again. Well, they don't play this week, so we don't have to worry about it.
No, we off this week. Thank God. maybe they get right. Maybe
got 2 Monday night games.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous.
What the fuck?
The Giants.
It's the end of the year. That's what they do. That every year. At the end of the year, we get 2 Monday night games and we get a Saturday game. We got a Saturday game coming
at the same effing time.
Week. Let me see if I do
the
it.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah, they've been doing that for I think the last.
Goodell's like his brother. If you know, you know.
Normally
Roger Goodell's like his brother. If you know, you know.
Yeah, normally what they do is they normally do the 2 Monday night games the first game of the year. They normally do it the first game of the year. It'd be 2 Monday night games. But this year they did it towards the end of the year.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, that's right, because they usually do it the first game of the year. You're right. And they didn't do that this year, right? They usually have 2.
No, they had one.
But they never had it at the same time, though. There was different times.
Never been it was different times.
It was different
but they got
times.
this joint at the same time. I don't know. I don't understand that one.
Ridiculous.
How you gonna watch both games at the same time
unless they're thinking, the Giants again are getting another night game and the primetime game, and they stink, and then they've got the Dolphins playing.
I mean, I could watch them because YouTube TV. If they got 2 games on at the same time, they'll put both the games on. It's almost like an NFL ticket. They'll put 2 games on, so I can watch both those games. But I only can hear the sound of one game. I have to switch it over to the other one to hear the sound of that game while that game is going on.
Jameis. Oh man, that's his team. The Saints. Hey, I'm a Seahawks fan now, so I can't say anything. Who wants to lead off this week?
I mean, I give it to the guy that's that's in front of me,
and that's Mr. Socrates Palmer Jr. So, Sock, you want first tips?
I appreciate your chivalry, D3. It seems like we say this all the time. This is a tough week.
Yeah, this week's a tough week.
Yeah.
Let me know if you want me to move the slide. I'll move it here, and I'll move it there. It's 4 slides. We got 14 games.
You know what?
You there?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know.
Or did he drop off? I don't know. Okay.
I don't know if he popped off or not.
I'm here.
Okay.
Oh.
I see you, Sock.
A must-win on the road against the Jets. Give me the Texans.
-3.5.
It's must-win. You got to beat the Jets.
Yeah. That is.
I know that they lost their big play guy, the rookie, but you got to beat the Jets. The Jets are in disarray. They don't know who's coming back. Zach Wilson, they're forcing him to play. Zach Wilson threw out his game plan on purpose, his playbook on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a
Give
tough
me the
week.
Texans.
All right, I got to take this is a tough. I'm going to go next, D3. I'll let you go for 2. I'm going to go next. It's a tough week, and I'm just going to go right opposite of what I've been saying. I think I already hit the under anyway on the team win total of the Buffalo Bills. I've been under. But I got the Bills -1. No, are they -1 or are they +1?
They +1.
+1. I got the Bills. I think the Bills win outright in Kansas
Road?
City. Off the
Road
bye
dog?
week. Kansas City has not looked good. And I think Buffalo coming off the bye week in what has to be a must-win for Buffalo, like they need to win at 6-6. I'm going to be that guy, and I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills +1 at Kansas City as my first pick. I'm going to be that guy, +1. D-Free, you're off for 2 picks.
No Pacheco. Is that a factor?
I think a little bit is a little bit of a factor. They don't run the ball as much, though, as they should. So even if he's there, I think they should run the ball more. But
I think my first game, I'm going to go. I think they're going to bounce back this week. I'm going to go with the Raiders over the Minnesota Vikings they +3. I think they're going to win outright.
All right. And JJ is supposed to come back this week.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But I'm gonna go with the Raiders +3. Okay. Raiders been playing good since Antonio Pierce been the head coach. They've been playing good.
They have.
And I'm gonna go to the next slide.
Yes, sir.
No, not that one.
Let's go back. Yeah, this is a terrible week.
right there. And I'm gonna go with the Lions -3.5 over the Browns. The Bears. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Lions -3.5. So the Raiders +3 and the Lions -3.5.
That's not bad. I don't know why I should have took that. I missed that.
Payback, right?
Yeah, I missed that game, but I've been looking at that Bills game all week though, so I'm not totally upset, but I'm happy with my pick. But now I got to pick a second pick, and it's on me. And I'm gonna take. I think this is going to be a statement game. I know they've been playing well, but now they're going to be on the road against a team coming off the bye. And I know this is
where you're going.
This is the time of year that the quarterback usually gets hurt every year.
I
It's
know where
about
you're
this
going.
time, but I'm gonna take the Baltimore Ravens -7.5 against the Rams. Have been playing really well.
I like the pick, but I don't know if they're going to cover.
That's fair. The
I
Rams
like the pick,
7.5.
though.
I just hope Lamar makes it through the game.
I don't think Lamar's going to get hurt this year. I don't think
Yeah.
he's going to get hurt.
I
this
hope
year.
not, because this is the time of year that he usually gets hurt. So
Yeah, he hasn't been running like he normally do. So I don't think he's going to get hurt this year.
yeah.
Normally he'll be taking off every other play. He ain't been doing that this year.
All right, Geeko, Sock, you're up.
You know what? The Rams have an outside shot at making the playoffs. They're 6-6. Low key, they're getting healthy. Stafford looked okay. Now, I know normally the West Coast team come to play that 1 o'clock game. The Ravens have had a couple of those this year. So whoever's doing the scheduling has really blessed Baltimore, because Seattle got done in like that also.
Yep, and I think Arizona came to Baltimore too. I think.
Yep.
Was it in Baltimore? I want to say yes. I could be wrong, but I think
it was. It was.
Yeah.
7.5 means what's the line?
+7 is 7.5. The Ravens are favorite.
Give me the Rams.
You'll be going against me here, so you go.
Yes.
The Rams.
Give me the Rams.
All right,
Road dog.
And you're up for your third and final pick.
Okay. This is a tough week. Damn, I can't even be a homer because my man D Free took my squad. Okay. It seems like the Bucks have played their best football. And the Falcons being at home, give me the Falcons just for being at home. That 2.5.
It's -2. -2.
-2.
-2?
DraftKings.
Even better.
Yeah, DraftKings. That's not a bad take. The Buccaneers
Stop giving them free pub, Tom.
Oh, sorry. The Falcons, the Bucks, they're injured on defense. Their linebackers is hurt. And you could run the ball against them, and that's something the Falcons do well. I like that pick.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
good
that's
pick.
a good pick.
All right, let me go with my third and final pick. And it's not much left to pick. I mean, I really don't like anything here. Like if I was gambling and I had, I would save my money. I would not bet on this game.
You don't think your boys can cover 13?
No, I do not.
Oh my God!
I mean, it's bad. It's really bad, man. And I saw a game I may take I just want to look real quick.
That's crazy.
The
Seahawks game is 13.
The Titans secondary is a little
trash.
But 13 points is a lot of points. So I'm not going to touch this game. I think I know where I'm going. I'm going to take a BS game. Let me get Cleveland at home -2.5 against the Jaguars.
Against my Colts.
The Browns -2.5 versus the Jags. I'm surprised you didn't take the Colts.
Hey, that's a good pick because I think they might be going without their quarterback.
I think they're going to be going with like a third string.
Yeah, their starting quarterback Trevor Lawrence is out.
Yep, and then the backup I think is hurt too.
That's not a bad pick.
Yeah, but I like the Browns defense and them being at home. The Browns, it was close with the Rams last week until the final quarter, and then Flacco threw a pick, and that was the end of that. So,
let me see.
All right, we got everybody got their three picks. No,
I ain't get mine yet.
D3, you got a third pick now.
Let me see the next slide.
Yes, sir. That's the first one. Slide 2. It's really tough this week.
Let me see the next slide.
I think I know who you're gonna take too.
Damn.
If we were doing over unders, I'd definitely take the over in the Cowboy Eagle game.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
I definitely take
I'm looking at that, but it's a division game. You giving the Eagles plus 3.5.
the Cowboys are hot, and I think the Cowboys need this game. But it could be a field goal game. They might win by 3, and then you don't cover.
Yeah. Do I like the Chargers over Denver? Or do I like the Chiefs over the Bills?
And then the Monday night games, I don't know if you care.
But I ain't fucking with neither one of them dumbass games. I ain't got enough faith in the Packers.
The Packers been playing well, but Watson, I don't think Watson's going to play.
They've been playing well, but I don't know if I got enough faith in them just yet.
Can the
I think
Giants
Jordan
actually
Love,
win
I
a
think
primetime
Jordan Love
game?
might need another year before I can trust him. Give me the Eagles plus 3.5.
Eagles plus 3.5. I thought for a minute you was going to take the Niners.
Fly, Eagles fly.
Plus
Give me the
3.5.
Eagles plus 3.5. I think the Eagles going to win outright. I just think they're a better team than Dallas. Dallas been flying high. I think they come back to earth. For some reason, the Eagles got Dallas number.
Yeah, and the Dallas they haven't really been beating good teams. I mean,
yeah, they got their first win against a winning team last week. The first win against a winning team all year.
And I don't count them as a winning team, and that's my team. So.
Right, and that team was only one game above 500.
So now they're 500. They're about to be under 500.
And even still, that team put up 30 points.
Yep. So it's gonna be interesting. That's why I think the Eagles' defense has not been great. If they don't get to the quarterback, they have a hard time. So the Eagles' defense. That's why I think the over is gonna be good. Dak has played well. CD.
Now, what I do know is the Dallas offensive line is beat up though. I do know that.
Okay.
Their offensive line is beat up. Yeah. That's the reason why I took the Eagles in our pick and in this pick.
Yeah.
In the pick 'em that we did on Tuesday, I took the Eagles, and in this pick, I take the Eagles because I know Dallas offensive line is beat up. I think they lost their, I want to say, either right guard or right tackle. It's one of the two. He went down last week in that game against y'all.
Did Philly get some humble pie?
Huh?
Did
back-to-back weeks? That would definitely
be.
Yeah, I think that would be big humble pie for Philly.
And I mean that wake-up call. I mean they got smoked.
Yeah,
that's the second half of the game.
Yeah. I mean the Eagles had a chance to put it away early. The first quarter they dominated.
Right, the field goals.
They couldn't put up points.
Yeah, the field goals.
So
yeah,
I mean
they only put up what 2 field goals in the first quarter, and they shut the 49ers out. But that second, third, and fourth quarter, Niners put up 14 points every quarter.
Yeah, crazy.
I mean, it would still take a lot for San Fran if they were to meet Philly again. It would still probably be in Philadelphia, right? But psychologically, that win, that bust, like someone that we know would say,
that might have been
their confidence is through the roof because
that might have been that might have been the loss they needed. They might have needed that loss because they was flying high for too long. That might have been the loss that they needed to get them back on track.
And this is the last tough game they have all year.
I told y'all if they beat the if they beat the Chiefs, I said they was only going to lose probably 3 games for the season. I was like, they probably only.
This is the last tough game of the year.
Yep.
Because then they got the Giants.
If they get past Dallas, they might not lose another game.
You're right.
I mean, unless they lose to Seattle at Seattle, because the Eagles play Seattle next after this.
Okay.
And then
no
I think the Eagles play the Dolphins yet?
Yeah, they beat the Dolphins.
They already beat the Dolphins.
But the Eagles, they play the Giants twice, no?
Yeah.
Oh wow, they got the Giants twice.
They got the Giants. I think they got the Giants again, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they got the Dallas this week. They got Seattle next week, and I think they got the Giants. Because I know for some reason, our schedules, we always play a divisional game, either the game before the last game or the last game. It's our division. We always play a divisional game, the game
Oh
before the
wow,
last
look
game
at
or
this.
the last game.
They got Dallas, right? And then they flex the game. The Seattle game's actually Monday night. So that, to me, that makes it a little bit tougher for the Eagles, because Seattle plays good usually at home on night games. So that makes it much tougher for the Eagles, that being flex. It wasn't flex. It was supposed to be a Sunday game. So they play at Seattle Monday night next week. Then the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Giants. So the last 3 games are layups.
Yeah. That's what I said. I knew they had to play the Giants the last game. That's why I said it was either the game before the last game or the last game, because we do it every year like that.
Yeah, that's a layup. What's up, Ray Baby Metalhead? He's from I believe he's from Seattle.
They might lose one more game. They might lose one more game, but if they get past Dallas, they pretty much got the division locked up. Because they're gonna beat the Giants probably both games.
Yeah, they should dominate the Giants, and the Giants shouldn't even be trying to win, right, in their state. And they play the Cardinals. The Cardinals shouldn't be trying to win. The Cardinals got 2 picks coming to them. So
yeah.
So like I mean, I think the Seahawks game, the Seahawks game is going to be close, and I wouldn't be surprised they lose. Huh?
The old coach, the old defensive coordinator.
Yeah, but that's why I said if they get past Dallas, they probably won't lose another game.
But they could lose to Seattle, man. Stop it.
I said probably. I
okay.
said they wouldn't.
Oh man, but yo, man, I think this was a great show. I mean, we had 2 guys on, and they dropped some good gems. Iceman gave us a lot of good stuff. We'd love to have them on again. Sock Worker Magic.
I did not. I mean, it makes sense now, but I didn't know Beterbiev didn't watch boxing. But it makes sense now when you see him fight. He don't look like he's bothered by anybody.
Yeah,
because he don't watch them fight, so he don't expect nothing from them.
And he didn't know.
Right.
He didn't know. It's funny. He don't know a lot of these fighters. He was saying, I think this is
before David Beterbiev.
He said he don't know who David Beterbiev is. He's never seen him. I don't know if he was here.
It's not disrespect. It's just, you don't watch.
It's
like it's his job.
Yeah.
This is his job.
So yeah, but I thought this was great. Ofacio was great. I wouldn't mind having him on again. I mean, we could do that segment. We could do all Bronx. We could have him with Maelo. We could do. There's a bunch of things we could do. If they got time, we can do it. I like to incorporate maybe one other person from our TWT family. I like to incorporate maybe BVO, because BVO and D Free, they got a channel, so that they could do maybe some interviews and give them another audience. You know what I'm saying? Just to share that and get them out there, just get more exposure. Especially for Ofacio, and then
that man BVO hit me up earlier today. He was like, "Did you see? I told you he was the best fighter." I'm like, "What you talking about?" He's like, "Man, T.O. just sent Matias the contract." I said, "Dog, I believe it when the contract is signed." Yeah. I said, just because they sent him an offer, that doesn't mean the fight gonna happen. And now that you said that his hand is broke, I know the fight not gonna happen.
Yeah, his hand. I saw a little bit of the interview because Gano Loco posted it, and I saw a little bit of it. It's in Spanish, and he's talking to Marquez, and he shows his hands on the screen. I'm gonna try to get it. I'm gonna try to get the link, and I'll send it to you guys if you guys haven't seen it. But yeah, so his hands is broke. I don't know. And apparently they said one of his hands was messed up before the fight, and he still fought anyway with a messed up hand. I don't know how true that is, but
he still made
all I know is I saw his hands, and his hands did not look like a normal hand. It looked like it was swollen, and this part looked like broken. You could see it. So, but I mean, seeing is believing. So I'll send y'all guys.
I know it's getting real late, but any final thoughts on Garcia Duarte?
Oh wow, we forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was good. I mean, I think he was tailor-made for Ryan, and Ryan was trying some things, and he obviously he has that power. He took some shots too, and he took them well. But I don't want to see him do those that shoulder roll, whatever he was doing. I don't want to see him do that.
That's not the Philadelphia shell. That's more like the Hollywood shuffle. I mean, like I said previously when we talked about it after the fight was over. I don't know if he did it on purpose or if it was just a reaction, but it was kind of smart the way he did it, because when he was doing it, the guy only had one hand he could use because the other hand was behind him, and every time he threw that hand, he got warned for hitting Garcia in the back. So I don't know if that was his plan, but I do know that Dirk James got in his ass. Dirk James like, "What the fuck you think you are, Floyd Mayweather? Stop that shit."
Yeah.
But I mean, I expected Ryan to win. I didn't think he was going to get the knockout because the dude he was fighting was tough. But he got the knockout, and he looked okay. But it was the first camp with Dirk James. He looked okay. He still got a lot to work on. I never seen Ryan move his feet so much. I never seen that from Ryan. He normally stands right in front of his opponent, but he was doing a lot of moving around the ring. I don't know if it was because of the guy's power or if that was just something he was working on, moving around the ring and not being stationary.
I mean, it's okay. Here's the thing with Ryan, right, and Golden Boy. We know there's friction, right? So it's not like Golden Boy. If they were on good terms, they would say, "Hey, Ryan, we need to build you back up. We're gonna give you 2 or 3 fights to build you up and get you to where you need to be, because it's gonna build your record. It's gonna build your experience." Because Ryan still has a lot of mistakes that he makes, but because of the friction, Golden Boy is not going to want to be left with their tool in their hand. I don't know if they're going to give Ryan that opportunity to develop, But in reality, in a perfect world, Ryan probably needs 3 to 4 fights to develop still, because he still makes mistakes, and he's got natural talent, which is speed and power. You can't teach that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if they polish him, give him 3 to 4 fights of guys that are tailor-made for him, and you could see improvement. I mean, he could be the biggest star in boxing. He really can, And people may not want to admit it, but boxing needs people like Ryan Garcia. But I don't know if the contract dispute with him and Golden Boy is going to allow him to be that.
Right.
That's fair.
Yeah, because Ryan, I know that he's supposed to be fighting the winner of Ohio Davey versus Barroso. That's what was the talk was. He's supposed to be fighting
Barroso,
the winner of that.
The guy that fought Rolly?
Yeah, because Rolly is in recess. So they making they gave Barroso the chance to fight for that belt again. I don't know if it's because of the controversy stoppage or if it's just because he was next in line. But either way, they had put Rolly in recess because Rolly wanted to fight Ryan, but they said Ohio Davey is the mandatory. That's who you got to fight. And Rolly, quote unquote, has an injury, so now he's in recess, and so Ohio Davey is fighting Barroso, and there's talk that Ryan's supposed to be getting the winner of that, so they can make the Rolly Romero fight, because when Rolly comes back, whoever has that belt has to fight Rolly because he's back from recess.
Yeah.
So I think those are 2 fights that Ryan can win. I think he'll beat either one of those guys, Ohio Davey or Barroso, and I think Ryan is good enough to be able to beat Rolly as well.
Yeah.
So those are 2 fights that's winnable for him. Now I know Rolly's going to try to rough him up, but I think being with Dirk James, he'll be a little more polished. It won't be the same Ryan that Rolly saw when they were sparring. So
yeah, because that's what Rolly's going to have in his mind. But that's a good point. Yeah. It's a very good point.
And that's instant build-up.
Yeah.
That's a great fight to build up.
But we I know you said 3 or 4 fights, but he ain't got 3 or 4 fights. You know, I
He
mean,
should
maybe
though.
one
In
more
a
fight.
perfect world, you know.
I mean, if fighters were fighting every 2 or 3 months like they used to, then yes, but they're
Yeah.
not. They're not doing that. You know,
Yeah.
they're fighting
I
twice a
think,
year.
yeah, I think, like I said, I think they're gonna get those 2 fights, and if Ryan's victorious in both of those fights, he'll be the WBA champion, and then they probably going to look to unify with somebody. I don't know if it's going to be the winner of Devin Haney and Regis, or if it's going to be Tio, or if it's going to be Matias. But they're going to look to unify. They probably going to look and say, okay, who's the more likely opponent for Ryan to win against? Because they're going to want Ryan to win. If
Yeah.
he's still with Golden Boy, they're going to want Ryan to win. So they probably going to look at either the Tio or the Devin Haney Regis fight before they take
Yeah.
Matias, because Matias, that's not an easy win. I don't care who you are. That's not an easy win.
Hell,
That's probably the toughest fight out of all of them. That's probably the toughest one.
I think you're going to end up seeing your cousin fight Matias. I think that's, you know, they want to try to eliminate one of those 2 bangers in that division, and they're going to probably have them fight each other eventually, I think. But I wonder, who do you guys think? I mean,
what belt does Matias have?
IBF, I believe.
He has the IBF, because
Yeah.
I know Antoine is in the running for, I believe it's the WBC. I'm not sure where he's ranked at in the IBF, but I think the WBC, I think he's ranked like 3 or 4, somewhere around there. He's like 3 or 4, somewhere around there.
And that's Ryan.
I don't know.
I mean, not Ryan. That's Tio, and Tio.
No, that's Regis. That's Regis and Devin.
Oh, that's right. Regis has the WBC. You're right. Regis and
Yeah.
Devin. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So,
But I was because I'm thinking more of my next question. That's why I'm sorry. Because my next question was like, who do you? I mean, we already know that it seems that Tio has the date set for March. Who do you think he fights?
Well, we know it's not going to be Matias. I don't know. I don't know who he's fighting. Maybe he get in there with a Richard Hitchens.
Wow. I
That's
know they talk about, because they know each other, and I
That's
don't know if they spar with each other. I think they've worked with each other before.
They both looking for a fight.
Yeah, I mean, and I know they're trying to push Hitchens to fight a mandatory. I forgot. I don't know who though.
Stylistically, it's not the worst fight for Tio, because Richards can't crack an egg.
Well, from what I hear that Richards he can punch. I hear that he can punch. He just don't throw a lot of shots, and he don't commit. But I hear that he can punch. I forgot who it was. It was somebody that was sparring with Hitchens, and they said he can punch. I don't know why.
It was probably BBO was in the gym when he was sparring, I think.
I mean,
that's what it was. That's what it was.
BBO was in the gym last
the guy,
month.
What's his name? Jay. Start with a J. Oh, I can't think of his name. That's who it was. But he normally he's on our channel when we do our show.
Okay.
He's an upcoming fighter. I think he's still in the amateurs, but he's been sparring with Hitchens, and he said he can punch, because he said he's been in the ring with Hitchens. He's been in the ring with I want to say Devin, if I'm not mistaken. I think he said he's been in the ring with Hitchens and Devin and a couple of other pro fighters. He said he's been in the ring with them, and he was like, Hitchens can punch. He said, I don't know why people say he can't punch, but he can punch.
I'm basing from the sparring that he had with Ofacio, and Ofacio said he doesn't really have much. Ofacio didn't want to say it because he's not.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, but he did say he said he was good in his accuracy of his punches. Ofacio did say that earlier on.
He said he's been in there with Devin and him, and Devin has more of an output than Hitchens.
Is Kambosos and Lomachenko's kind of signed?
I don't know if it's confirmed yet. No.
I mean, in reality, I mean, Tio needs to get that Cambosis loss. I mean, he needs to rectify that. That's
But
a
he's not
bad
going to
L.
go back down. He's Cambosis will have to move up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think at this point, Cambosis would. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
I mean,
think
he's got to win, and he needs a win.
I mean, I guess at this point, who's the A side?
It's gonna be. It's probably gonna be Tio.
That's a good question.
Because he's the champ.
That's going to be the problem. Because Cambosis going to be like, I beat you. I made more money in my last fight than you made. I sold out 80,000 people in Australia.
That's a good question.
So that might be the hiccup right there. That might be the hiccup right there.
But
Good
maybe
point.
I mean, supposedly it's not the theater, it's the big house. So it's got to be some type of name if they're gonna try to sell out the Garden, right? So, I mean, Cambosis, is he a big enough name?
No.
No.
Now it's
not coming off of
history there.
two back-to-back
It's
L's.
Yeah.
It's
Although
history, but it's not a
Cambosis
big
beat him
name.
in the Garden
Yeah.
at the theater, right?
Josh Taylor had a name. Yeah, it was in the theater. It was in the theater.
And
that was
Cambosis beat him in the theater.
Yeah. But I'm saying supposedly the rumor is in the big house. It's not the theater. That's the rumor.
Well, that
We
was
don't know if it's
probably
true.
They better have a good undercard.
because that's
And
probably because
Ofacio's
they
the one
thought
that
that.
dropped the rumor, by the way. I didn't want to say it, but that's why I asked him. But Ofacio was the one that dropped it to us last month about Tio
But see-
fighting in March. So
But that's probably because they thought they would probably get Matias. But since
Matias.
Matias is not going to be able to fight, they might have to move it from the big house.
to the theater. I mean,
I agree.
Because that would have been a big fight. A Puerto Rican star versus Tio, Latino, whatever he wants to be
yeah.
at that point in time. So that would have been a big fight for Madison Square Garden.
No, it would have. It would have sold out. I think it would have sold out. And then they would put, and then the undercard would help too. You probably throw Xander in there too, since Xander's fighting tomorrow. 3 months is good for him, right? So you probably throw Xander in there, and you throw a couple other guys, and now you got a good card in the big house. So yeah, it definitely would have sold.
Yeah.
So
I would have been.
I don't know who he's gonna fight. I mean, I really don't know. Really don't know.
I mean, we should find out soon because we're almost at the end of the year, and if they're gonna,
Because I know that we know it's not Tank Davis now because Tank Davis said he's fighting in March.
Yeah, and it's not, and they're different. They're not gonna,
He's gonna be the first major card for Amazon Prime in March.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because it's a done deal now. PBC is with Amazon. It's a done deal.
I wonder how that's gonna work out with the
Amazon.
Yeah, but with the fighters, the PBC fighters, like how they, because some fights are gonna be pay-per-view and some fights will be like an app.
Well, see, what it is. Amazon gave PBC a budget, so the mega fight, the big fights are going to be pay-per-view. That's where they're going to get their money at. They're going to still get the small guarantee, and they're going to make their money on the back end. The fights that's not pay-per-view, they get a flat fee. Now that they got a budget, they can say, okay, we're going to give you $5 million to fight this person, and this person is going to get $3 million. They got a budget. When it was with Showtime, it was just, okay, we paying you this amount for the fight. They didn't have a budget. So whatever Showtime said they was paying for the fight, then they said, okay, this is what the fight is. This is what we're going to give you.
Yeah.
But they got a budget now, so now they know what they can work with.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, I think that's a wrap for us. It's past my bedtime. So
yeah, it's on the on.
I mean, I know D Free works 25 hours a day. So, but real quick before I forget.
I just want to say real quick before I get off of here, I want to give a shout out to my son. He graduated from the academy.
I was about to mention that. Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah. And then
he graduated from the academy. He's now a George Washington University police officer,
Congratulations.
I'm very proud of him. He graduated top of the class. He got 100% on his exam, and he got a couple of awards today at his graduation. So I'm proud of him because I didn't think he was going to take these steps as being a police officer. I thought he was going to go play basketball. But what I did hear from his chief is they sending him to Georgetown, so he might end up still playing basketball. They're going to send him to school, and so he's going to be working and going to school at the same time. So he still can live out his college dream of playing basketball in college.
Oh, that's what's up, man. Congratulations. That's awesome. And I was going to bring that up, and I was going to also bring up today is your anniversary. You know, happy anniversary to you and your wife.
Appreciate it.
So. How long is the bid?
The bid.
Well, me and my wife, we've been married for 5 years, but we known each other since we was 14. We was together when we was 14. We lost contact, and then I found her 8 years ago. Well, 9 years ago now. 9 years ago, and we got married 4 years later.
That's awesome.
Happy anniversary, and congratulations on your son.
Appreciate it.
Salute.
Joseph Townsend was good, bro. Joseph Townsend is at the fight. He'll be at the fight. He's in San Francisco. He'll be at the fight tomorrow. He's at I believe he was at the weigh-in and press conference. Salute to you, Joe Townsend. I hope you have a great time. We all did our predictions. We all predicted Haney to win on our panel. But we'll talk probably Sunday because I know I'll catch you on Will's joint on Sunday. So
I just hope it's a good, entertaining fight. I didn't seen enough of the boring fights. I don't want to see no more boring fights for the rest of this year. I hope it's a good, entertaining fight. And we still got 2 more fight weeks left after this one. We still got David Morrell next week, and then the following week we got Monster Inoue. So we still got 2 more fight weeks.
Supposedly.
Oh, and we got Sadesa Green fighting too on the 15th. She fighting Francine Cruz on the 15th. That Friday before David Morrell.
And Sox Girl's fighting tomorrow too.
That's right.
Bridges, that's your girl, right? Good. And then Inoue fights in a couple weeks.
A lot of talent.
Inoue fights in a couple weeks also, I think on a Tuesday. And then we got, the Wilder, but we'll talk about that later. We've been on for a minute. And my wife is looking at me weird. She's going to beat me up. Joe, the Bay Area will definitely be in the Mofo building.
Lisa, go to sleep.
I'm excited to see. Yeah, it's going to be good. Ebony Bridges, little hottie. All right, guys, man. I appreciate you guys. Today was a good one. Don't forget, share it with people. I'm gonna share it. Like, maybe I'll clip it with Iceman and Ofacio talking to their stories and make that a video in itself and repost it. But yeah, man, today was great. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everybody that came through and show love. We'll be back next week. I don't know if we'll come up tomorrow on the post fight. I kind of doubt it, but you never know. So, any last words, guys?
Like you said last week, if Haney loses, it's a story.
It's YouTube going to blow up if Haney loses.
Because there's a lot of hate. Yeah, you're right.
Like we said, if Ryan loses, we going live, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So we on deck.
Yeah.
I'll be live tomorrow because me and BBO be live tomorrow because Dub Right Side will be calling a fight on our channel tomorrow. So we'll be live for the fight.
So if y'all do a post fight, I'll be in there.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. That's it. Appreciate Any last words? That's it. I appreciate you guys. Share the video. Saying I'll try to clip it. We had Ice Man Scully. We had Ofacio. Next week, we hope to have, Georgie Tehran and a couple others. So stay tuned.
Peace.